Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Give me the meat, and give it to me raw.
What's the matter? Take yourself a great big bite of meat. Taste the pleasure of the highest quality pork around.
If somebody's gonna try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. But go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that? Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star.
But we're told that we don't like any of this because we're misogynists. We just don't like this stuff because we're women. And the only reason we're unhappy about the Rey movie coming out, because, guys, did you hear the Rey movie was canceled and uncanceled? Did you hear that?
Drew, you heard that too, right?
I did hear it.
Wait,
I did hear it.
What did I do?
You said because we're women.
We hate it because we're women.
Okay. I said it. All right. Yeah, I see. Now Ariel just arrived, and she's going to make sure that I remember that.
Yes, we didn't want it to come out like this, but Adam is in fact trans. He's coming out of the closet. Him and Dermy are in a relationship. It's time.
It's still there.
I didn't say that.
We want to enjoy what we're looking at. We don't want sores and fat whores.
Liar! No.
Let me be as clear as I can. Ain't no colors in Scandinavia.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the round table where I'm honestly still waking up. I have to stop staying to the end of Saturday. I really do. I need to shut myself down and go to bed sooner than that because that shit goes on too long. 3 a.m., 4 a.m. No, it's not good. But welcome to the round table where we will give you our unique takes on the events of the week. And we hope you enjoyed today's show because it should be an interesting one. I've teased my thoughts on these things all week long. And listen, it's a weird place out there on the internet sometimes. And this week might be an example. The internet might have been a mistake. It might have been with the how some people are doing stuff. But anyway, let's get going. Jed, hi. It's as though I never see you. I'm going to run with that joke today. That's what I got.
I know, it's so disappointing when we spend so much time apart. I forget what you look like, and it's tragic. It's very tragic. But it's great to be here. There's a lot of great things to talk about, particularly the Doctor Who episode from the other night, and then, of course, the Acolyte nonsense going on. So I think this will be a fun show, even with half our panel missing for the day.
Yeah, I mean, Dre's off frolicking in the desert. Literally, he's frolicking in the desert. Dragon leads his family. So Ryan has decided to join us to help out this week. Ryan, hi, how you doing today?
So you guys are stuck with me. Sorry. I can pretend to be black. It's fine. No, it's been a weird week. We'll get into Doctor Who, but the stuff surrounding Star Wars is it's almost
unique.
At a fever level of psycho right now.
I've never seen it like this. I'll be honest.
I don't think I have either.
The reaction of the stands, which is what we're going to talk about today, guys. We're going to talk about Amandla Stenberg. We're going to talk about the show itself. We're going to talk about the Stanbase and their behavior, the Wikipedia stuff. We're going to get into that because it has, as Ryan said, it's triggered something. It has created a certain behavior, the likes of which we've never seen. And that's when we can link it to the Amandla Stenberg stuff and the James O'Keefe stuff. It's all right there. One interesting cocktail of insanity and rejection of reality and embracing of a weird cringe fantasy that they all live in. So that's what we're going to do. And as Jed said, we're going to talk some Doctor Who. Jed and I and Dermy, and we had it with Bradley Burnett, Duke Devil, and Mr. Grant Gregory. We went over the finale last night, but today it's overnight day. And according to Jed, we were all wrong, and not in a good way, which makes me sad because I might have to.
It's not that bad. Okay. It's not that bad.
And if we have time at the end, after we're done ripping on shit, we'll be a little positive. Say how we're feeling going into Hot D Season 2, Episode 2 tonight. So we'll get into that a little bit because Ryan likes House of the Dragon.
I do. I'm enjoying it very much.
Yeah,
it's a beacon of light in the darkness.
And I give my unique perspective of I don't really care, and I'm right down the middle, but I can be objective about it and say what's good and bad. And Jed's watching it too, so we can touch on that little positivity at the end because I don't really have much negative to say about it. I don't, but let's stretch that anyway. So here we go. Let's say hail and howdy to the chat, and we'll get going. Hail Legatus, who isn't here, who's off doing real life stuff, but a good Sir Algrim the Strong is here to be our glorious defender of the chat and the mod. And Algrim doesn't troll me like Legatus does, so Algrim actually likes me. So hail to you, good Sir Algrim the Strong. Hey, Static, how you doing? Static went to bed early last night, so he's fine. Or he tapped out way before I did. Or were you Static? Oh, no, Static was there all the time. I don't remember anymore. It's a blur. It's a blur. We got to stop staying up so late on that damn Chatterday, especially when Dermy's young. Okay. Last night, for the last hour, it was all about the goddamn Sonichu Medallion on Chatterday. Dermy's obsessed with it. He's afraid that one of us is going to send it to him. So we started coming up with a list of people who we should, in our relative, Venn diagram, to experiment on. It's like, okay, who won't be afraid of it? We decided that maybe Melee James wouldn't be afraid of it, and Jed. We also threw Beardo's name in there because just to see what would happen.
Beardo has enough bad luck.
Yeah,
I think Beardo. I don't think Beardo will be afraid of it. That's the thing. I think he's like, okay,
that's true. Hey, well, he didn't even know what it was until last month. I had to explain it to him.
I'll just say this: I don't want that damn thing near me.
See, you're genuinely afraid of it, and we also thought.
I think for good reason.
We thought, hey, let's have Cloud put it on, but then we thought, wait a minute, it's Cloud. What more can happen to Cloud than already happens? So, we said
he might actually get what he wants from somebody.
That was a joke. Maybe a blonde with big tits would show up at his door holding Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That actually be the opposite. And they said, Adam, you do, and I said, well, wait a minute. I'm just like one rung above Cloud. I'm not a good test subject. We need people who either aren't afraid of it or don't care. So we're actually thinking about doing this. Dermy actually sent a message to Melee K saying, because she's the one who has good permission for James to do it. Said, okay, we want James to put it on. Will you allow this? So we're gonna run an experiment. But Dermy is definitely afraid of the thing. He is definitely afraid, and everybody's now threatening him at the next meetup to give him one. So
mark this date in your calendar when James and Mary Kay get divorced. Right now, that thing is evil.
All right. So, but that was like the last hour and a half of Chatterday, and that's what it descended into. So that's why it's a blur. Anyway, so hail to Static, who was there with us on that. Hail to you, Ruben X. How are you? Hail, Boosh McFadden, who walked in. I think I was looking down my pants, see if my penis was still there during that clip. Huzzah, son of Joxer. Hail, blind conservative woman. And yes, we will definitely be talking Stenberg and how she is the latest Yas Queen in the line of Rachel Zegler, because Zegler is on lockdown. They don't let her out of the cage to talk at all, even though I wish they would, because that would be great content. Going on down. Anybody else? Hail, Dominic Bliss. Greetings back to you in Norway. Hail. And hail to Last Tolan. Thank you for joining us. Love the Stargate representation as always. And howdy and hail to anybody else who is not chatting. We're happy to have you here. Hit that like button. We hope you enjoy the rest of the show, whether you're watching live or on the replay. So let's do what we always do. For the last time until Christmas, Jed, Doctor Who. Jed, myself, Dermy, Bradley Burnett, and Mr. Grant Gregory, we went over Empire of Death last night. The streams are still up on all our channels, so you can go check that out. But Jed, is it fair to say, continue saying R.I.P. Doctor Who?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Last night's episode was the worst finale in the show's history, which is really saying something after episodes like The Timeless Children and The Flux and everything from the Jodie Whittaker era.
Yeah.
But there's nothing redeeming about this show. We're well past it's just political, so it's bad phase that some people were saying was our argument. This is well into it's horrible, horrible storytelling with no redeeming qualities. Like there's barely even any ideas that could be good in it.
No.
And even the stands are turning against it to a large degree. Not totally. There are still some who are still drooling at the mouth and saying it's the greatest thing ever. They wanted to vomit and cry with joy, just like they always do with all these franchises. But it's surprisingly negative. Even Mr. TARDIS, who on Twitter, for those who are aware, is one of the biggest Doctor Who stands for the current era that there is, and he despised this episode. Like there is a very vitriolic response from a lot of stands for it. And then there are some stands who are like their biggest dissent is, I don't really know how I feel about it. It's not great. Oh, I'm sorry to say that. Like that to them is the equivalent of doing a Ryan rant about how evil and woke something was. Ryan Kinnell. That's the equivalent. So yeah, it's just glorious to see. It does feel a little vindicating for the stands to finally realize maybe this wasn't good the whole time. But Mr. TARDIS, he is still not redeemable yet. Rogue is still his favorite episode from the season. He thinks that is an all-time great episode of the franchise. So
Man Kiss. I mean, Ryan, I'm assuming you watched it. You've seen it.
I definitely watched it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this. They leashed a dog to defeat him. That's it. And then they what? Cut him loose?
Essentially.
But it should have worked because that's how he tried to kill him the first time. That's literally the same way he defeated him back in the classic show. And he's been evolving apparently in the time vortex, living there for thousands and in fact billions of years, because unlike the Doctor, who didn't live through all of Heaven Sent, he lived through all of Heaven Sent. The TARDIS was just sitting there for those billions of years. So he lived through all those billions of years. So billions of years, Sutekh has been on the TARDIS in the time vortex and everything. The time vortex shouldn't do any damage to him. None whatsoever.
No.
None of it makes sense.
Oh, also they had to change him because because it was cultural appropriation.
Yep, it was cultural appropriation, and
that's just so dumb because the classic show said the Egyptians based their mythology off the Asarians, this race of essentially Egyptian gods. So it's actually the Egyptians who did the cultural appropriating, not the other way around.
Okay. You notice no one ever said cultural appropriation when Stargate did it. No one said it because guess what? Stargate's good.
Yeah,
this iteration of Doctor Who is not. But that's just one of the many examples of the massive gaping, and I say gaping on purpose, plot holes in this show. Because none of it makes sense. All the way back to Ruby Sunday. They spent 8 episodes trying to tell us she's so special. She makes snow, the song trapped inside her heart. The time is changing around her. All these special things.
Things are speaking through her through time, like, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, your mom was special because we thought she was special. What?
It's the power of we think it's okay. It's the power. You know what it is? It's the power of my truth.
Yes, it is.
Basically,
it really is the power of my truth. I believe something's like this, therefore it must be. All facts and logic besides. And yet you realize Russell T Davies has decided to say, don't believe your lying eyes. We were supposed to believe for 8 episodes that Ruby Sunday had some sort of alien or powerful tie to something, that her mother was something. No, in the end, her mom was just pointing to a road sign with nobody else there, nobody else watching to indicate that's the name of her child that she just left on a stoop. And in the end, it's just a 15-year-old girl who got knocked up.
Also, at the same time, who walks around in a robe like that if you're nobody?
Sith?
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's like this was mid-2000s, so she'd be I could accept a hoodie, she was in a hoodie with the hood up.
Yeah, maybe an umbrella, like a normal person.
But who's walking? That's a good point. Who's walking around in a robe like that in the middle of
it was
modern
purely
day?
Done for you to think that she was something that she wasn't. There was no logic behind it.
Can I ask a quick question? Because I feel like because they've decided to literally so the go away little blonde lady, right? So that's because they've already recast and he's got a new companion that's all
Millie
diverse.
Gibson didn't recast. She's going to come back for an episode.
Yeah, she's in season 2.
She's
Is
there,
she?
but she's not a constant event. But real quick, because I want to get it before he leaves, going to sit here. Hail Jay Fraser 360 for the 5 British pounds. Hail Roundtable. Unfortunately, I'll have to watch this later due to illness. However, the truth is still the truth. R.I.P. Doctor Who. R.I.P. Disney Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Jay Fraser, my friend, get better. Just push fluids, sleep, and take whatever medications you need to suppress symptoms. I hope it's that kind of illness. And then come back to us strong. And we appreciate your support as always. And yes, R.I.P. to do. And I love it that you said it. R.I.P. Disney Star Wars. Thank you, my friend. You get better. Thank you for the 5 pounds. Okay, go ahead, Ron.
I was just gonna say that does this episode not feel like the possibility that they changed the ending that because they when they put everything out, it wasn't known as being diverse enough. So before it ever dropped this season, they decided to write off Millie Gibson and bring in somebody else.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Write it off. I mean, I want to believe in. I mean, Jed and I we've tried to parse this conversations. I think Millie Gibson saw this and said, "My tits are too nice. I need to get the hell out of here."
But yeah, she was never a fan of Doctor Who. She didn't know what she was getting herself into,
Yeah.
and she never wanted to be here. She just thought it was a big show. She came in and realized maybe it isn't a big show, and she was going back to Coronation Street. But there's a lot of theories that we could come up with. I mean, a lot of companions have been planned to be one-season companions. I mean, Martha and Donna were always just going to be one-season companions. So the fact that she's just in one doesn't necessarily spell behind-the-scenes drama, but it could. One-season Doctors definitely is a sign of behind-the-scenes drama, but companions, maybe, but nothing, concrete.
I just think, I mean, listen, she didn't do a great job as an actress in this show,
No.
but she's an attractive young woman, and that goes very far in entertainment, which means she can be eye candy and a lot of stuff. But if you fall into something that's really bad, people are going to want to ignore you because they don't want to associate with something bad. So I want to think that she's I don't think there was drama, like Jed is saying. I agree. I don't think there's drama. I think it's basically she made a career decision and didn't come back. But then, as soon as it started to come out that she's gone, they noticed they went in full spin on them. When she's not gone, she's coming back. Look, there's set photos. She's there. Monday, Sunday. I mean, all that kind of shit. So I really think that she's just not there. I think it's a little column A, a little column B. She probably realizes it's bad, but it's also there's no drama involved. I just think it's I don't. This show's going to drag a lot of people down.
It could have been Russell's plan the whole time to get people in with a hot, attractive young woman like the show's been known for, and then pull the rug out from under them and bring out Monday, who isn't exactly an attractive woman.
She is so plain.
Especially with that haircut she had in Boom.
Oh, dude. I mean, I remember her from Andor, and I made fun of her in Andor. So I have no problem making fun of her now because just there. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Taking time out of his vacation to say hi. Hi, Dre. See, Dre needs to be here because I need him to say the word half-breed for me later on, but he's not. So he's letting me down.
We need him here to just react to the stuff we say about Doctor Who.
I know.
That's the best part of this segment that we have when we're talking about Doctor Who is just saying, hey, Dre, what do you think about a 13-year-old
Because he's the normie.
boy?
He's the normie. He's like, wait a minute. You talking about this? We missed that. But also for Stenberg, I needed Dre here. But anyway, Dre, have a safe trip over where you are. Be safe, my good friend. And we will see you back here next time.
Also, I definitely noticed this. What Frank said, he calls him casting couch, which is funny. Crying all the time. He cried like 3 times during this episode.
No, 4. It was 4. It was 4.
Yeah,
he had to make up for not crying in the last episode.
And then in the end, when he says goodbye to his friend who leaves and says, I love you, he chokes back the tears and doesn't let him out? Really?
Well,
you cried over the dumbest crap in this whole entire episode.
Cried over a spoon, cried over killing an evil god. And the other
I swear
times,
the spoon thing was just to get that cameo in from that semi-famous
you have to be
actress.
right, because and funny thing is, you're the only one who knew this. I didn't know it.
I didn't know it at the time. I saw it on Twitter. I had
Oh,
no idea.
okay.
I've never seen
Okay.
Fleabag, so I had no idea who
Well,
she
no,
was.
no sane person in their mind has watched Fleabag. Only weirdos and
Yeah, no, I've never
syco-
seen Fleabag.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge sycophants who try to make her that she's the greatest thing in the world when in fact she's never done anything successful. Because Fleabag
Also,
is like not successful, not really.
yeah, no, it is with, well, probably at the
Yeah.
time, 40-year-old white women who are single.
Mm.
It just, but also at the same time, when he's screaming out the TARDIS door into space, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I just literally pictured that chick. You know, I'm talking about the meme. Just no, like I'm just like, oh,
It's cringe.
it's terrible.
And it's to just kind of distract us from I feel like that kind of stuff is to try and make us focus on that and not the fact that nothing happens. He
Mhm.
doesn't do anything. I mean, point being, this entire episode was nothing. It delivered on zero promises and zero setups that it looked like RTD was putting out the entire season. And as Jed is pointing out, even some of the stands, even their coping mechanisms aren't kicking in because they realize this was not RTD didn't deliver on anything. He lied to you for 8 episodes. Maybe we'll say 7, maybe. Or, no, 8. Could we include the Christmas special? We can include
'cause
that. That's where it
it's the
started.
arc of Ruby Sunday. That's what they were calling this.
Mhm.
So ends the story of the church on Ruby Road or something like that. So they consider it
Yep.
the whole story.
Yeah. So he sets all this stuff up. It literally is subversion. Subverting your expectations, except it's Ryan Johnson subverting your expectations.
Well,
which is
and
the
he
bad-
did learn from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he actually had comments saying he took inspiration from The Last Jedi for this. The whole Rey's mom being nothing, subverting your expectation, reveals
Yeah.
meaning nothing. And then there's that other clip that we talked about the other night too, of him saying that all these mysteries were done for social media hype. They were a marketing tool. They weren't actually meant to be satisfying to tell a good story. It's just, oh yeah, people will be curious, so they'll tweet about it. That's the whole reason any of this existed.
And before we get to the numbers, because that'll take us down a different tangent, you got to understand, all he cares about is his agenda. Showrunner Russell T Davies admits topics he writes about are being gay man, or being a queer person. That's all he cares about. In an interview with Radio Times, he says, it's not so much that there's unexplored topics, but the topics I do write about keep changing, like being a gay man or being a queer person in society is changing now. He continued, 10 years ago, or even when we did Queer as Folk 25 years ago, we were on the up. It was like good times are here. Now they're absolutely not. So he's basically saying that there's some sort of crusade against gay men.
Well, this is actually the first time that someone in this woke political sphere, especially in Hollywood, has admitted that things were good in the 90s, in the early 2000s. That's something we've been saying. Like, it's not like they were all too discriminatory back then. Something we've been saying.
Yeah. And it changed when a certain man got elected in 2008 and turned everybody against each other and started pushing agenda and everything. And it's not, and I'm not saying that there's some sort of crusade against gay men and gay women. No, the crusade that we're actually fighting is leave children alone and stop pushing this trans not so secret agenda that is harmful to people. That's the thing. Gay men and gay women, you go live your life. I don't care what you do. Just leave kids out of it.
Yeah.
That's all I say.
Yeah, it's not complicated.
Yeah, not complicated at all.
Well, I mean, it's an ideology at this point. It's a cult.
It's a religion.
Yeah.
It's a religion. It has replaced religion. And
it is their religion, yeah.
So for him to say now they're absolutely not, that wave coming from America where they're trying to have legislation banning drag queens. No, the legislation we're having is not having men running around in parades with their ding-dongs flapping around while kids are standing there watching it. That's what that's what legislation is about. You want to go to a drag queen club where everybody's in drag, putting on dresses, singing and shit like that? That's existed for decades. Nobody cares about that. That's putting on like a what was it called? A review. You know, they do their songs. Who cares? Nobody cares. Those are grown men
Mhm.
with other grown men, usually, maybe some women, taking part in adult activities. No kids involved.
Yeah, it's like going to burlesque. You're not going to take your kids to
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And he says he's saying here that he's painting the picture. It's some sort of crusade, and that he has to write stuff to protect gay men from the crusade coming from America. Because he says, "Oh God, Maestro."
Mhm.
Davies went on, "We might get a labor government in the next couple of years, but that just means we'll have a very right-wing government after that. They're all waiting like boogeymen in the shadows. They've started the conversation in this country about banning abortion. It started already amongst that right wing. So I think our rights are paper thin." Wait, your rights as a human being should be intact. I mean, no one's telling you not to go have sex with Shooty Gatwa every night.
This is such a nothing burger.
I know.
This is that we're not special anymore, and so we have to scream that we're still special.
Mhm.
You guess what? Will and Grace came out in the 90s. Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Well, I
People
hated
watched that show.
I thought it wasn't funny at all.
People
Although I
still
would have,
watch that show. It's a big
yeah.
hit.
Although
Nobody cared.
I would have with Megan Mullally. I would have during that show.
Oh yeah.
I
Just
would have.
before my time, so I hardly know anything about it.
Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry. You don't need that. You don't need that bad unfunny show in your head because it wasn't funny.
I
It
mean,
wasn't
I'll say this. I've seen episodes of it. It's 10 times better than anything we would have today.
Well, that's because it knew what it was. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
It knew
yeah.
exactly what it was, and its audience knew what it was.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't
they-
co-opting something else and trying to.
Yes,
and
make it
nobody
into
attacked it. Nobody attacked that show.
No.
It just existed, and it was successful on
And it
NBC.
had the
for
first on-screen
years.
gay kiss. So
Yeah.
now it has to be everywhere. And they have to be like, oh my God, did you see that Dr. Shooty kissed a man? It's like, we did that
Actually,
like a couple decades ago. Who
Yeah,
cares?
nothing new. It's everywhere. And he finishes up, "I will always keep writing about male gayness if people will have me." So you're gonna ignore lesbians?
He'll reference them constantly. There was a lot of
Yeah.
references to lesbians,
Mhm.
but no evidence of them.
Well, you know what they're
existing.
gonna do? RTD knows that Leslie Headland's gonna handle that end of it.
Yeah,
She's
Yeah.
gonna handle that end
they're
of it.
working together at Disney. It's like, all right, you take the gay men, I'll take the lesbians, and we'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah.
Also, at the same
And-
time, I'm surprised he's not getting smacked down for this because now queer is a separate thing from gay man altogether. It used to be, yes, you'd be like, oh no, I'm gay or I'm queer, and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
well, you're
Well,
homosexual. Nobody cares.
He's a
But now it's
leading
different.
he's a leading activist, so he gets
an
to
idiot.
say whatever he wants. But that's the point. He's an activist, and he blatantly admits it. He blatantly says right here, that's what he's turned Doctor Who into. So I expect next season to be even worse with the agenda shit. They're gonna
I
they're gonna
couldn't
amp
imagine
it
it
up.
being worse.
They're gonna amp it up because Jed, we postulated last night. He may be purposefully ending this.
Yes, that
Next
was
season.
actually a theory that suddenly came to me. Is Disney's only ordered 2 seasons of Russell T Davies' show at this point. There's no news about a third one. He's even come out and said he doesn't have a plan for the 3rd season yet. That is far down the horizon. So suddenly I thought, well, maybe he does intend to actually end the show in finality. Like the Mrs. Flood said at the end of the episode, his story ends in terror. Maybe he is ending the story. He started New Who, so he feels like he has a right to end it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might be doing that. Season 2 might be the end of Doctor Who in more ways than one.
Yeah, and not only because nobody's watching, because we got the overnights, Jed. Let's get those up.
You ready for the overnight? So
I have to be.
these numbers are a slight increase from what we've seen over the last couple weeks, but fortunately, they are still some of the lowest overnights in the franchise's history. We've got 2.25. It's not even in the top 3 of the season.
All right, so I batted 0 for the entire
Mhm.
season on predictions. I batted 0. I was wrong every time, but I had to go with it. I couldn't break form. But 2.25. We were all wrong. Still, that's bad. What is it now? Is that the 4th or 5th lowest?
4th, or lowest? It's the 4th highest. I don't know what it is.
You know what I mean? Like all time.
All time. Well, this is the lowest of all time. So 1,
Yeah.
2, 3,
3,
4,
5.
No,
Five? No.
Legend of the
Oh.
Sea Devils was 2.2.
Oh,
So
really?
it's
Okay.
the 6th lowest.
6. Well, that's a great notch on the belt right there. We still don't have the overnights for Legend of Ruby Sunday.
We won't get those until probably Tuesday or Wednesday. That's usually
Okay.
when they come out, and about a week and a half after the episode airs.
Okay.
Because we
So-
only just got this number yesterday.
Yeah, but and
This number we got
that's-
on Wednesday.
and this whole thing though, this is not RIP Doctor Who. Yes, we may have been wrong, but that's because in my case, I was going for the extreme,
Mhm.
under 2 million, and you guys were right that it's a finale. Of course, there's going to be a finale bump and that kind of stuff, but this is still abysmal.
Oh, absolutely. The 6th lowest overnight in the franchise's history in 61 years of the show. And only twice this season did the consolidated numbers even break 4. They didn't even come close to the overnights of the 60th anniversary. How are these stands trying to argue that these numbers are good somehow? Even their whole, the only numbers that matter are the 28-day numbers. Well, Russell said for Space Babies that the consolidated were only 1.5 million. So 5.5 total million people watch Space Babies in a month. Yeah, that's still not good. Your month numbers mean nothing either.
And we just counted them here. 4 out of the 6 lowest overnight Doctor Who episodes in the entire franchise history are owned by Ncuti Gatwa. 4 out of the 6.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I'm like,
5
these
out of
numbers
the
are
6.
are well lower than Dr. Karen. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, there's
nuts.
a couple episodes that get down this far. Like Legend of the Sea Devils is still in the mix here at 2.2 million, but yeah, 99% of hers were well above this. Her first episode got over 10 million in the end, consolidated. So that one did very well. Woman Who
That's
Fell to
because
Earth.
we were all still, we didn't know what was going to happen yet. I mean, it's first episode, I mean, not everything could be 11th hour where Matt Smith owns it immediately. And we thought, okay, maybe she's got to get comfortable with it. Maybe she's got to, we'll give her till she gives a doctor speech, but she never gave a doctor speech.
I would argue that, Matt Smith became the Doctor in his episode faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
Mainly because David Tennant wasn't in most of his first episode,
Yeah,
The Christmas
yeah.
Invasion. He didn't wake up to the last 10 minutes.
And Capaldi
was asleep for most of his.
Yeah, and
it
he
acted
didn't
weird.
And at the end, it wasn't until that final minute where you wonder, did he push the guy out or not? Where suddenly, okay, there's now he's the doctor and he's sitting there.
But it happened in the first episode for all of them.
Yeah, but at some point, but Jodie, we gave her a little wiggle room, but then we know where that went. Ncuti never achieved anything, never did anything, and as Jed corrected me, 5 out of the 6 episodes, all-time worst, are on him. And so it's no surprise that the fans in England, home base, home field advantage, the UK, they've abandoned Doctor Who. Where are the other tens of millions of people that would be watching this overall? Gone. And in the West, it doesn't even chart on Nielsen's. Doesn't even chart on Samba.
Doesn't even chart on Disney's own metrics. It's top 10. We've got no evidence for the numbers besides one site once reporting that it got 4.5 million, which we can't corroborate.
Yeah.
That's the best that we've got. And that's still abysmally bad for Disney Plus.
So there are literal receipts that this show in its current iteration has been rejected by everybody. Only people who talk about it are us because we're watching it so others don't have to and review and talk about it, and the stands. And the stands, as stands aren't anything, they don't move the needle. They have no influence. They sound like they do when they scream and shout and circle jerk each other on Twitter, which we're going to get to with the Disney stands in a minute. But in the end, they don't really have power. They don't make anything grow. They have no ability to sustain a franchise. And here it is, the obvious evidence. Nobody's watching. So if Russell T Davies decides to end it himself next season, if he was watching this, because they were filming season 2 as this was coming out, they're putting the finishing touches on it now. I wouldn't be surprised, Jed, if you are right that he decides to before cancellation happens. If he decides to do it a certain way to make it look like, yeah, I ended it. We can end it right here. I'm the one who rejuvenated it, so boom, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah,
go
make
away.
it seem like it ended on his own terms. Make it seem like it was a victory rather than a cancellation.
Yeah, he gets to take a victory lap.
Well, victory lap into the abyss, because that's where these numbers are going to keep going. Now, season 2, I'm going to get my wish, and maybe with the Christmas special, but I think definitely in season 2, it's going under 2 million.
I agree. It's going to happen.
Because we have to, I have to admit, all my joking aside, saying 1919 for the whole season, this was still people showing up to see how it played out. Nobody's going to show up next time because Mrs. Flood, or whoever the hell she really is, her tease at the end, that's not bringing anybody back. No one's the Christmas special. I don't think anybody's coming in for the Christmas special. Not really. I think that'll still get these relative area numbers, but whatever they're setting up for season 2, nobody's buying.
No, I would agree. I think it would have been better to end on the whole happy, kind of like the happy family ending, kind of like pulling out and just leaving it as a mystery. Her standing on the roof was stupid.
Yeah,
it was really bad.
And I mean,
it's really bad.
But Jed, you pointed out that we got our dates wrong. I don't know why. I swear I saw it the way I saw it when it happened. That they did the 2-episode theater thing. Nobody showed up.
Oh, I actually have receipts for that if you would like.
Oh, please, yes, let's do this.
All right, so it started right here with this person, Bradley Dare, saying Doctor Who only had 32 out of the 158 seats filled. Someone asked for proof, and they provided it. Doctor Who, Legend of Ruby Sunday, Empire of Death.
Jeez. I saw the picture, though.
Don't you love when people show receipts? I love it.
Yes.
I love it because it just drives it all home. And we're going to come back to receipts not being a thing when we talk about the Disney stands. Look at that. Nobody's there. I mean, geez, people could be having sex and nobody would care in that empty theater. Now, it'd probably gay sex, but hey. Here's the thing. So this is unmitigated, undeniable proof. Failure. They made a big deal. Oh, go see it in the theater. Go see, because somewhere in their deranged little mind, they thought they would get crowds and lines. Because I'll give the Disney Star Wars stands this. Whenever they put that shit in the theater, they do show up to it and make it look like it's a big deal. All the weirdos come over to that. But they couldn't even get their own weirdos to show up to this in England. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And if you can't even get a fake version of your fans to come out and do it, then you really have a problem. Can't deny facts, evidence, receipts put in front of you. This thing has failed. It's done. And listen, Doctor Who Cares reviews will be back for the Christmas special, and then we will be hopefully back for season 2 whenever it drops. I mean, they could delay it. I mean, Jed, what do you think the odds are in them delaying the release of season 2?
I'm not sure. If it's bad enough that Disney's not happy with it, they'll probably want to pump it out. So, especially with it this close to being done, so I don't see it as very likely that they're going to delay it. But well, yeah, I don't
think
see
you'd get the echo treatment.
No,
I don't think they dump it out all at the same time because
it has to release weekly on the BBC iPlayer for the UK because they don't get it on Disney Plus.
Okay, so it's a contractual thing, which I mean, because I've always known it's been weekly. So
yeah, I mean, they might do another double episode drop to start it, like they did this time, which is the tactic to try and make it look like it's an opening success.
Yeah, add the numbers together.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there is something else that came out today that I actually just found out about. So the thing that's worse than seeing, a franchise desecrated this late in the game, like Acolyte, like Doctor Who season 1 here that we're looking at, it's well past dead. So seeing them desecrate the franchise isn't that big of a deal. But when we see people who were in the show before, in Star Wars before, or in Doctor Who come back and degrade what came before, that's the only thing left that really has a bite and a sting to it. If you want to bring up what I have. So Bonnie is the name of the actress who plays Mel in this episode, and in Classic Who, she was a companion for both Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker's 6th and 7th Doctors. She was never anyone's favorite, I believe, but she was still a good companion that people loved. She was nowhere near Sarah Jane Smith levels, but this is something she had to say in an interview with Russell T Davies. I'm so proud and so grateful that I'm a part of this because I'm really proud of this, whereas I was never proud of being in it before.
What?
Wait a minute. And what wasn't she? I mean, yeah, she wasn't the level of Sarah Jane Smith, but at her time, she was major thirst material
Oh,
for a lot
100%.
back then.
Yep. Oh, yeah. She was very attractive back in the day.
Yeah. So
she was beloved. I don't want to downgrade her. She's not Bill levels where people just tolerated her.
Yeah.
She was a beloved companion. She's not in the list, anyone's list for best companions, at least as far as I'm aware.
I have to say, though, I can't stand this kind of stuff. We're like, oh, well, I was in my 20s or 30s, and I'm not proud of what I did. You chose to do it. Nobody made you do it. You signed on the dotted line, said, I will do this. Like, it's like when Scarlett Johansson came out, it's like, she's like, well, I was sexualized. And it's like, yes, and you did it willingly. So you're just as much to blame.
Honey, there was a smile on your face when you did it.
Yeah.
There's a big smile on your face when you got paid $16 million for Endgame. That's the highest paycheck of what, any actress in history for a movie or something? Or is
I don't know.
something bigger than that? Like 26 million is something astronomical.
Yeah, it's hard to have sympathy. And with her, it's fine that she says she's proud of the current era. She's in it. She's got to be pro it for marketing purposes. It's probably contractual. But she doesn't need to denigrate what came before. Yeah, I was never proud to be in Classic Who. Yeah, but I'm proud of this. Implying it's better.
It's shameful, is what it is. It's shameful and it's disrespectful. And it also proves, you know what? Maybe better seen and not heard. Maybe don't do these interviews. Don't destroy your legacy, because we talked about this yesterday. RTD's legacy is shot as a creative. It's done. He has destroyed any goodwill for him. We will still watch and enjoy the best of his Tennant era. That doesn't get removed. But as far as him, and it calls into question, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We question, was he truly the creative force during his best years as Tennant?
It has to be questioned now. I still believe he had a big influence on it. He couldn't not have, because he was the showrunner. But after we see this, was this always who he was, but someone was reining him in, like you're saying? The question has to be brought up. Whether or not it's true has to be at least acknowledged.
Yeah. So is he just a guy wedded to his extremes and had better talent, taking the rough edges off his ideas and forming it into a cohesive story? Or was it a situation where they just made sure to guide him away from this stuff, where maybe back then he had showrunner power, but he didn't have complete creative control, where nobody dares question him like they do now. Now it's, RTD's doing his thing, let's leave him alone. And this is what we happen. So his legacy is done. And even though I mentioned this last night and it got misinterpreted when I said it, we understand maybe Christopher Eccleston knew how bad it was when he left the show. And that doesn't excuse Christopher Eccleston's behavior to the fan base for the following 20 years. That doesn't excuse anything. But I'm simply saying maybe he did nothing wrong when he left the show, because maybe he saw this for what it was way back then. And
there's always a possibility.
Yeah.
I still really kind of lean towards the fact these are broken, bitter people who are they're not married to this ideology. This ideology has infected their brain, and that they can't see anything else other than that. And this is their way of, because now we're elevating people saying, I'm oppressed, i.e., just coming up actress who's worth $3 million. But okay, whatever. You just twerked on freaking camera, so get out of my face.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah, no, I know. So, but it's like these people are married to their ideology, and it is they're infected by it. It's warped their brain to where they say things that are, you just look at them, you go, what? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, it could be the possibility, but I don't know. It just seems like these people are they're deranged at this point.
It is derangement. It is definite derangement. There is a definite mentality of I have tied everything I have into this.
Mm-hmm.
I've defined everything how I do my life into this. Much the same way as we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, those who are involved with Disney Star Wars, they have literally tied all their existence into this one thing. And if you dare besmirch it, if you dare talk bad about it, it's like as though you've stabbed me in the heart. And now I must come at you.
Which is funny because that's what they accuse us of doing, is making our
Mhm.
personality, classic Star Trek or classic Star Wars under George Lucas, or even just Doctor Who, what came before. Like this guy, he has this theory about how the whole episode was criticizing the crazy ravenous fans, not realizing that he's one of the crazy ravenous fans.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
what he said here, I absolutely love. This is actually a lot of people have theorized this is the point of Empire of Death. I've seen this a lot. I absolutely love that the not too subtle subtext of Sutekh as a continuity obsessed fan who gets catfished by continuity references and dragged around by the show on a leash appears to have been at least somewhat intentional. So Sutekh is the embodiment of the toxic fandom obsessed with continuity.
God help us that we want lore and things to make sense. There's the phrase out there, make it make sense. Make it make sense when this shit is just broken. And that's kind of where we're going to go in this next conversation, because Doctor Who, they abandoned their lore with the Timeless Children. Chinballs, he decided to say, F it, I'm going to change everything because RTD gave me a head pat and I want to, and he's going to let me do it. And I know that he's going to back me up when he comes back. He's going to uphold the destruction I have unleashed upon this and destroyed the lore. Lore and canon. Listen, lore is everything. Without lore, without world building, without things make sense, a franchise cannot survive. It cannot maintain. It cannot continue to go on for decades as the greatest franchises of all time did. Doctor Who did it for 55 years. It managed to hold up for 55 years with its lore. Star Wars did it for 30 years because the past 10, 12 years. Star Trek did it for roughly 45 years after with a nice little bow with the end of it, thanks to Terry Metalis. But it managed to hold on until people came in who hate to be constrained by the rules set down by the people who created the goddamn franchise in the first place. They come in and they got to change it and make it theirs. We're looking at you, Jar Jar Abrams. We're looking at you, Alex Kurtzman. We're looking at everybody who's involved in current day Doctor Who. We're looking at you, Dave. Kiss my ass, you dog fucking Filoni. We're looking at people like that. We're looking at Leslie Headland. We're looking at Kathleen Kennedy. Everybody who chafes at the bit of greater men, greater creative minds like Gene Roddenberry, like George Lucas, who came up with wondrous ideas and actually had proper disciples in place, or at least with Gene Roddenberry for a very long time, had proper disciples in place to carry it on for wondrous shows. George, not so much. George
Mhm.
was too busy drinking Diet Coke and eating at the eating Chinese food at a food court to pay attention. He forgot this shit. He didn't realize that the people who he had surrounded himself were not those who helped him make it great in the first place. And what we have now is people who don't care about lore because lore
No.
gets in the way of agenda.
Yeah, they just subvert everything. Like actual
Yeah.
original Star Trek was actually progressive, like in a real sense.
In a
And
normal way.
now that they've went so far before that with these dumbass prequels, they've rewritten everything because they have to look like the ones that they did it. They have to be the special ones. Look what we did. We're doing so much good stuff for everybody. It's like they did it back in the 60s, you loser. Like when there was actually problems, like there was actual like societal tension, not like this manufactured crap that y'all are stirring up just to subvert everybody and call everybody racist.
You bring it up, and you mentioned it sort of earlier. It's you alluded to it earlier. It's the industry of victimhood, the victimhood industry. They need to keep pushing it because if they don't have it, they have nothing. And we go to someone, a privileged individual, someone who has been in the elite status her entire life.
I think I
Amandla
despise this
Stenberg.
woman more than
Amandla
Rachel
Stenberg.
Zegler.
She has been privileged her entire life. And now, on the heels of the Acolyte really just taking things to a new low of bad creativity and bad everything. Listen, we all have our fun trashing the Acolyte. We do. It's a game to those of us. Disney Star Wars can't hurt me anymore. I'm here to roast it. I'm here to uphold the bargain I have with my audience. I watch it so they don't have to. I make fun of it to make it more entertaining than the actual show. But we can only take that so far with what the show gives us. And the week's events, which we're going to get to with episode 4, it opened up a massive can of worms, bigger than I thought. But we can only go so far as that stuff. But then you have good old Amandla. Good old Amandla comes in and decides to drop this, what I guess we're all agreeing called a diss track. I guess that's the accepted terminology now. I'm only going to play a couple of seconds. I spared everybody during my take on this earlier in the week, but I promised I wouldn't be so kind on stream. Just a couple of seconds, just so that you could hear not only the low quality, but some of the lyrics. Just real quick. Wait, did I choose the right one? Hang on. I might have hit the wrong one. Hold on 1 second. I might have shared it without sound. I was going to stop myself before I did. I'm not going to boomer. There we go. Correct one. Now I'm definitely sure. Anyway, all right. So just for a second here. That's all you need. That's right from the spot where I wanted it, where where this half-white, very privileged young woman who has had work in entertainment industry paying her money since she was 4 years old, talking about she has suffered pain and violence in her life because she's black.
Mm-hmm.
That she's been oppressed in her life. Bitch, you've had one of the most privileged assistants. There it is. Thank you. See, this is why I needed Dre here. There you go.
We got it.
You. See, we got it. It's in text, but we got it.
Also, she's green lighting everything that happened over the summer of love. Don't conflate our pain with violence. So, because we're in pain, it's not violence when we riot. That's what she's saying. Yeah, also, too, when she says, "I don't fuck with your discourse," woman, you spent 72 hours on this.
72 hours, and with making it look cheap. Now, take all that aside. This thing drops, and let's get her off the screen because it really is obnoxious to look at her. We're gonna have to look at. Listen, a lot of people saying would. I would not. She repulses me in all shapes and forms. I'm repulsed by her.
Well, yeah, because she's gonna open her mouth. It's at some point at any time.
Yeah.
So, but this drops on the heels of a lot of stuff. So she drops this on Juneteenth. Okay. And what that was Wednesday, right? Was that Wednesday? Or was it Tuesday? Let me look at
Juneteenth was Wednesday.
Tuesday. No, it was Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday?
I thought it's 18th. Oh no, it was Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's the 19th.
I thought it was the 18th. Sorry. So she dropped this. If she said she'd been working on it, she made this before the Acolyte drop, before we all reacted to the events of episode 4. So she had this ready to go. She put it out as her protest to last week's then discourse on the Acolyte, where with lesbian witches and forced immaculate conception, all that stuff. At the same time, well, not same, I'm sorry, a day later, James O'Keefe drops his Disney bombshell about how Disney's, long story short, Disney's the racist. They're the ones actually pushing racism against white people. There's no way Disney didn't know she was going to drop this. There's no way. So
they probably endorsed it.
They probably helped fund it.
Yeah, that's why.
Yes.
Lend her a camera crew and some editors.
So she drops it, and with, as we just saw, beautiful lyrics like right here talking about oppression and this and that, how now white people understand all our stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's all right here. These lyrics are fantastic. They want to conflate our pain with violence, try to weaponize everything we do. The desperation of the oppressors is rising.
I do want to say it's funny that someone like this accuses us of conflating something with violence, because we usually say the people who criticize, not right wing or anything, just the people who criticize these extremists, say violence is violence. But these people are the ones who say, you know, words are violence, opinions are violence. If you don't agree with me, that's violence. So they have a long-standing history of conflating violence with other things. So
yes,
yeah,
you're
a
exactly
little
right.
projecting right here, saying that pain is violence. No, violence is violence.
To quote Jeremy, those who preach the loudest have the most to hide. Those who are preaching loudest are usually the hypocritical ones who are actually doing this shit. And so she gets it out there. Now, James O'Keefe drops this a day later, talking about Disney's racism. We know they passed her. So Disney likely approved of her calling millions of people racist with this video. So what do you think the response was from the show media? Within the same 12 hours that James O'Keefe drops his video and they start commenting on her cringe rap. What do you think their response was?
The usual. They take it and run with it. That she's stunning and brave, and then all these bigots and racists and Nazis. It's always the same thing. They take these words that have real meaning to them, and then they just smear them across people who have a different opinion, or who are calling out the fact that she's actually. Look, I know the clip on what's his name, Trevor Noah. Nobody cares. He sucks. I know that it was taken out of context, but she still said it. The point of this was for white people to cry. That statement alone is disgusting. If I said the whole point of this is for black people to cry, somebody should call me a racist, because that's racist.
Yeah. But you're not far off. All the shill media outlets started running with, and Amandla Stenberg calls out her intolerable racism against her, this and that, all this stuff. Yet never have we seen receipts.
No, there's never receipts.
Intolerable racism that was put against her for her rap. We call it cringe. We call it stupid. We call her entitled. We call her a dumb bitch. But no receipts on the intolerable racism. We call her character bad. We call her acting bad. She has about as much emoting ability as a mollusk, is what she can do. She has no real talent, if you ask me. But that's what we comment on. Never once in my criticism is comment about her skin color. Never once.
I don't care.
None. Don't care. Do not care. But they want to frame like that. And so you have all that, and then here come the stands. And now let's talk about the fallout. We'll start with Amandla, and then we'll go to the other stuff surrounding the actual show. So the fans come out, and I talked about this in my video a few days ago, where these timestamps are within the window of James O'Keefe having released his information on Disney and her racist rap. They're all just going, shout out to Amandla, shout out to guy who thinks Anakin blew up the Death Star. They're so great. We have to tell these people that we love them, and we have to show respect to them. No.
Also, real fast, Charlie hasn't said anything crazy. He said something stupid. It was a stupid comment.
Retard. He's just a retard.
He seems like a nice guy. He hasn't said anything bad about anybody. So, why are they lumping him in here? She's the one attacking people.
I make fun of him for being a retard, not because he said anything bad. And I'm allowed to do that when you say Anakin blew up the Death Star. I'm allowed to do that when you do it twice.
And what's sad too is he probably heard somebody behind the scenes say that dumbass crap, and he's just like, okay.
Well, and that leads to the greater question, or the greater point, of the fact that his saying that it's not so much about him, it's about the culture that he exists in, where they don't know anything and they're pushing stuff.
He seems very nice. He's very positive. He's very upbeat. I think he should be in something else because, quite frankly, Disney's going to ruin him. They'll probably eventually spin it somehow to by the time we get to the end of the Acolyte, where he's saying that he's getting racist backlash or something.
Well, some homophobic tweets, this and that. I'm sure they'll push it out there. But the point is, these people, and this is only a select of the ones I had, they will instantly rush to defend Amandla Stenberg and Disney and call us the racists and bigots, which means this is who Disney wants. People who are happy with bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they get to that. And this is just the symptom of it. And it gets worse when we talk about now the other half. So Amandla Stenberg came out and did this, and she just threw fuel on the fire of what was already burning over the discourse surrounding the events of Acolyte episode 4 with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
There is a disingenuous push by those involved in this discourse on the Disney Stan side, where they want to make it about how we are just angry nerds who are making a big deal over a date change.
A
No,
small date change, as they call it. We just changed it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, aren't they retconning it by like 40 years or something?
At least.
Because
the events take place 40 years before he was born, and he's already an old man in the Acolyte.
So,
they've
yeah,
gotta
so
change
even
it by at
farther,
least
okay.
100 years or something like that.
Yep. And the point is this. That's just the beginning of it. That's what takes us down the road of, we talked about before, lore. Lore matters. We're not angry so much that it's him. I mean, I think we can agree that we're not angry that they've screwed up Ki-Adi-Mundi. That's not he's only the example of the disrespect being shown and the disingenuous nature of all these fake fans and stans. Ki-Adi-Mundi's age, and I say this understand how what I'm going to say now is I'm using the terminology because it's all I can do for the moment. I'll explain myself in a second. His age as being born around 93 BBY, before Battle of Yavin, is Star Wars canon. And I'm not calling it the Disney Star Wars canon. I'm calling it the actual Star Wars canon, which Disney claims to be, because when Phantom Menace came out, like they did back in the day, successfully back in the day, they released all kind of extra material to go with it, extra source material to enhance the experience. And in an insider's book, Inside the Phantom Menace, that kind of stuff, approved by Lucasfilm, which means approved by George Lucas, probably was the source for the information in there. It basically says in that book, Ki-Adi-Mundi was born around 93 BBY. Yeah, that kind of makes it actual top tier canon, doesn't it?
That is pretty top tier canon. There's a bunch of other canon that I've seen recently that also support that. So there's tons of evidence. That is absolutely the highest one that I've heard so far. But the stands that I saw were refuting that by saying, well, it's been Legends fact since 1999, but it hasn't been canon yet. Disney hasn't said it, so it's not real yet.
Oh, thank you, Jake. You bring it. You bring the phrasing that I exactly need you to say. They only that's the perfect example of a Disney stan.
Yep.
They don't care about real Star Wars because their phrase is Disney hasn't made it canon. That's what they care about. Disney Star Wars. They don't care about the original trilogy. They don't care about the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
and
with those arguments, this first 6 movies aren't canon. Not until Disney remakes them.
Exactly. But if George puts it in writing, literally associated with the movie, literally attached to the movie, that's 6 movie top tier canon. That goes above everything on my shelf. If we go in the tier list of canon, that means that is the truth. And that is the canon that Disney purports to uphold and say, we are the canon, and dirty L slur word created by Disney needs to not be counted. So for people to say that it was Legends, that's fake fan bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That's fake fan bullshit. And it led to the whole thing with Wikipedia, where at the night of, they decided to go on there and in a rush change his birth date on the Disney canon side of Wikipedia to match up. And it started an editing war, which exploded surrounding a lot of people. I've had discussions. I've been on streams with people now who have been into it. Even myself, I tried to get, even though with my tiny little footprint on Twitter, which I know amounts like this much, it's a speck. I tried to get, instead of we stand with Wikipedia, we don't stand with Wikipedia training. I tried. I made the effort. I tried my best. But that's the thing. This Wikipedia thing has started like Ryan said before, it started sort of a weird fever pitch, a weird outburst of Stan pushback at everything. And it's centered around the strange things. In one way, it's centered around Star Wars theory, which God bless him. He's finally having a come to Obi-Wan moment where he's understanding what's going on here. And it's all kind of starting to come home for him. And listen, I've always been critical of him, not him as a person, but the fact that he has been willingly letting it all slide for so many years. But I've always said I respect him for what he's built, and I respect him as a true fan because I never have one doubt in my mind that Star Wars Theory is not a real fan of Star Wars. Never doubted that. I just always was critical of how can you keep allowing this to happen? You're the biggest name out there. Call this shit out. Well, in the past couple months, he started to call it out.
Mm-hmm.
He's finally reached that. I guess Mauler and Kinnell rubbed off on him enough, and he's actually seeing the light of day. So all respect to him, and he's not taking any shit, which I give him a lot of respect for. He's not taking the shit. But suddenly there's this movement of Star Wars theory is everything that's wrong in Star Wars fandom, just as actual fans are everything that's wrong in the Star Wars fandom. And it's centered around where they made up, and I actually, thanks to Jeremy, I didn't know it was going to be that, but I was the middle of the night and I needed something on while I was doing some chores late at night. So I put on where he reacted to Drunk 3PO's breakdown of the theory situation. So thanks to both Jeremy and Drunk 3PO Jay for putting this out there. They manufactured, excuse me, they manufactured the controversy that he sent people to fight people on Wikipedia, that he's drummed up all this hate against Wikipedia. No, the hate for Wikipedia has already existed for a long time because they're pushing the not so secret agenda. They're changing people's character sexuality to match agenda. They're doing all kinds of creepy weird shit, and they are pushing the stupid narratives of Star Wars is for everybody. It's always no hate, no get all that kind of crap. They're pushing it.
Well, I remember when the pronouns in bio from Wikipedia, when that was a thing. That was a few years ago, right? When they started doing that.
Last year.
Was it last year? Okay.
Or maybe the year before. It's a blur because it's all retarded.
It's been a blur. But no, they're so Disney obviously they pay these losers. And the reason I know that they pay these losers or they give them stuff, they give them special access is because I see it all the time where what's that one guy? He finally blocked me, Nick Jacob something. Like
he blocked you?
He finally blocked me, yeah.
Oh, fuck you!
Because
I can't get that block.
Well, he blocked me because he posted something where the official Star Wars kind of followed and said, "Well, you're a Disney shill, so of course you did."
That's all it took.
That's all it took.
Do you understand the horrible things I say to him on a daily basis?
He
and I don't
blocked
get the
me.
block. You and Dermy got the fucking block for doing nothing, and I have been trying for 2 years to get the block on that little shit.
I think Dermy and I have bigger Twitters than you.
Well, you do.
So I mean, I'm not 1,000 yet, but I'm probably going to be there in the next couple of weeks, especially if the stuff with the former president keeps going. I'm pissing a lot of people off.
Other shield twinks have blocked me for less.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of blocks lately. But yeah, Jacob blocked me just because, again, and there was another account where the Star Wars, and I don't remember what his name is. He's not like that Jacob guy you see all over the place. But yeah, it's like the official Star Wars account follows you. It's like,
that was the thing last week. The Star Wars account was following all of them for their support of the shilling. And they're going, oh my God, I can't believe it. Thanks.
Yep.
And it led to what we're going with next. It's led to this, the whole Wikipedia thing where, and this, I'm bringing this up now here. Let me swing it back. But, God damn it, Dre, what? I need your support. Damn it. I need your support. God.
Okay, I tried to get blocked too from him and it didn't work. Mine wasn't that bad though.
Yeah, well, he probably will block you before he blocks me. He will.
Maybe.
He will. I mean, he blocked Mahler, but that was expected because Mahler actually did a whole EFAP on him. That was
I
brilliant.
think I just hit him at the right time, like because he was all celebrating. I just rained on his parade because I'm like, well, yeah, you're a fucking Disney shill. I'm like, you get.
We'll come back to Suggs in a second because he's wrapped up in all this stuff. He is front and center in all this shit because he is one of the chief circle jerkers on Twitter. He's one of the chief ones because all he does is post the most inane, not profound shit to try and sound like he's profound in his shit. Listen, he got Epic Mike's attention now, and Epic Mike will get the block long before I will too. He'll get the block. He will, because Mike is savage on Twitter.
Gotta get those Twitter followers up, man. Those are rookie numbers.
I'm terrible. I make fun of shills and I make fun of Dermy and I post my and I promote my shit. That's all I do on Twitter. I don't do much else. I'm terrible at it. I know I'm bad at Twitter. I know I am. Anyway, back on topic. So the Wikipedia thing, it's a dividing line. The Amandla Stenberg thing is dividing line. It makes it very clear. If you are a real Star Wars fan, you will support George Lucas Star Wars because it was just good. And it really was for everybody. Right now, to counter what they're doing here, people are posting that classic Return of the Jedi commercial where everybody of all shapes, sizes, and colors and gender, both men and women, are happy. In 1983, they're happy. They're having a good time. It always was diverse. And I say that unsarcastically. But now, if you support Disney Star Wars, you're supporting Amandla Stenberg. You're supporting Disney being blatantly racist. You're supporting all this stuff. You're supporting active butchery through the Wikipedia example of changing George Lucas Star Wars to fit Disney Star Wars. You're saying Disney Star Wars is greater than George Lucas Star Wars. It's a very simple decision right now. And out of this, as we talked about before, Wikipedia cried foul during this. They started crying, we're getting threats, we're getting harassment. And from that came the "we stand with Wikipedia" bullshit. And from that came, it's the evolution of the Star Wars Twitter account has followed me. The introduction to Star Wars Twitter, or for a lot of them, the reintroduction to Star Wars Twitter. Have you guys seen these? I don't
believe so.
Here's
does Wikipedia have any receipts though for this whole? They're coming after us?
No, there's zero receipts.
Sounds about right.
And others don't. Just like right here, I'll go to this one first. Right here, just like this one right here.
Even the people quote tweeting, Star Wars theory, saying, "Well, they're getting all these threats and kind of stuff," and then no receipts provided. And it's like, well, okay, whatever. I don't support this, but at the same time, I don't see your receipts, so you can go kick rocks.
Yeah, and so people like this, Maggie Lovett, who works for
Collider,
woke up to DMs telling me to Minecraft myself, great threats, replies calling me slurs that don't even apply to me, and people telling me to get back in the kitchen. That's so original, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just an average day in the Star Wars fandom as a woman. So this is the day after Wikipedia that apparently people level stuff at her, to which she also said, people going, "We stand with you, love you all." And I guess it's been moved far down here where she said, I won't release these things because it will just encourage it more. To why I just said a simple reply, receipts, please. That's all I said. Receipts, please. She hasn't released a single receipt, not to my knowledge. Or at
receipts,
least
or it didn't happen.
I saw her. I did see her release something, but I don't think it actually corroborated any of this right here. I didn't see any of this right here. So they don't want to show receipts. So in response to this, in response to the Wikipedia, suddenly all of the circle jerkers, and I'll say there are thousands of them here on the X Twitter, because that's where they live. They live right here. The few thousand of them who are the only people who are buying stuff like High Republic. They started this thing of, "Hi, Star Wars Twitter, hashtag Star Wars Twitter," the acronym for it. "I'm so-and-so," and let's just go through a few of them. This guy's a chief piece of crap. And you'll notice a recurring theme on 90% of them. It's always all Disney Star Wars stuff in the pictures they show. And he goes, "Hi, Star Wars Twitter. I'm Alden. I'm the host of a really shit podcast, amongst the other shows, a producer, writer, trivia player, and more. I love interviewing people and exploring themes in Star Wars. I type a lot, talk more. Not quite sure who I'd be without this wondrous galaxy. These are people, as I mentioned earlier, who have completely made this their whole thing."
Yeah, that's terrible. If you don't know who you'd be without a certain franchise, we're all nerds here. In this sphere on this panel, we're all nerds. There's franchises that I love, and I'd be sad if they disappeared like they have, but that's not my whole identity. If Doctor Who, suddenly didn't exist and the only place it existed was in my memory, I'm still a person with a life, interest, hobbies. This is an insanely disturbed point of view. Like psychologically, you need help if that's true.
It's going to be a repetitive term. Now, I get what I'm going to show you are just select few that I've saved because there are lots of these, and you'll always notice the same things. He doesn't have them, no flags, but he does have the pronouns in the bio. And this dude is obviously gay. He's obviously gay. But they have the pronouns bio, and they showed these Star Wars stuff. Let's go to the next one here. Scotty, holiday Star Wars, they, them, all the proper flags. Hi, Star Wars Twitter. My name is Scotty. I'm a queer creator and a huge Star Wars nerd. Now, they always they start to list their favorite things. Notice what their favorite things are always going to be. Disney Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan since 1999, and some of my favorite things are Clone Wars, Star Wars Jedi games, prequels, Attack of the Clones specifically. That's not good. I mean, listen, we give drunk 3PO shit over that, okay? Come on.
Yeah.
Rogue One, Asajj Ventress, Ahsoka Tano. That's really screaming you're a true Star Wars fan right there. And then his pictures. Oh Lord. And you take Chibiusa, Dark Lady, out of your hand. You put her down. You don't go near Sailor Moon, you son of a bitch. You put her down. Now, that is Dark Lady where she is fully formed with giant tits, so that is acceptable. But you leave her alone. But there you go. This is another example. Totally pronouns, totally agenda. No, I mean, yes, this is actual Star Wars, but you immediately discount yourself when you say Attack of the Clones is your favorite. You're discounted.
The Star Wars is all in rainbow.
It gets worse. Hey, Star Wars Twitter, I'm Gabrielle. I've been a Star Wars fan for as long as I can remember, and I love all things Star Wars, especially Ahsoka and Hera Syndulla, who Hera Syndulla is about as far away as you can get from actual Star Wars. That is a pure Dave Filoni creation right there.
Disney Dave, too.
Disney Dave, too. Not even Dave on a leash. Disney Dave.
Who likes Rebels? Rebels is terrible. Just animation style if nothing else.
I like Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Thrawn 2017. That is unforgivable. That is, yes, Timothy Zahn changed his Thrawn to fit Disney Star Wars, not the original Thrawn, who was a badass. So it just keeps going. Another one right here. Look at that. They all make the soy face. I like all the things right here. Thrawn, Ahsoka. I don't even know. Cross. I guess that's a Bad Batch guy. They list the things that are Disney Star Wars. And then
I think he's the sniper from Bad Batch.
Yeah. And then this. So they go through and all of them are doing it, and they all boosted their social media footprints with this because they all subscribe to each other on everything, and it boosted their footprints with all this. And it's really weird. But then after the Love and Tug Fest goes on, here comes the attacks. This guy right here. Vast majority of Star Wars fans, notice he's talking about us. Talk about us. He's talking about himself. Sorry, I'm confusing with a different one. Sorry. He thinks that these are Star Wars fans. Aren't terminally online. Don't care about canon.
That immediately means that you're not actually a fan. You could be a casual fan and not really know canon, and that's fine.
That's a difference. Difference.
But if you're a fan, that means you're interested. You've done the research, and you have a firm understanding, if not a total understanding. Some franchises it's impossible to have a total understanding, but you have an understanding, and canon is a part of that. As a writer, canon, I know how essential that is just from a writing perspective, let alone from a fan perspective. Cohesiveness and internal continuity are some of the most important tenets of making a good story. So if you're throwing canon out the window, you don't actually care about the quality of the story. You don't care about the story itself. Nothing matters. If canon doesn't matter, then nothing matters. There's no stakes. There's nothing in the story that has value.
This is exactly the fallout from the Wikipedia incident. They have to say now, that canon doesn't matter in order to hold up their side of the argument. They're even rolling out George Lucas doesn't care about canon. They're actually pushing an argument that George doesn't care about canon and lore, that he doesn't.
He literally did a video on his YouTube channel a day ago. Does canon really matter in Star Wars?
Yeah, these guys are revealing themselves where they are. Appreciate George Lucas, but no, he isn't a god. None of us treat George. We criticize George every day about his past behavior, what he says. But there's a difference to respecting the man as the creator of this thing we love so much, and not treating him like a god. Because we don't.
Yeah, when George said that making Star Wars is not for amateurs, well, shit, it seems like Disney's having amateurs make it. So I don't know, George.
That might be a little generous.
Yeah,
yeah. Like, well, he came out kind of in defense, and it's like, all right, well, I guess George collected his yearly, paycheck for all his stock. So
yeah. George he's just sitting on his money. That's what he's doing.
Which I don't blame him.
I don't. Neither do I. Neither do I. But really, they try to roll this argument that, excuse me, that we treat George as a god. Yet at the same time, they want to blame us for him selling it. That we trashed him so hard for the prequels that he sold it. They want to they want it both ways. We either treat him as a god, or we were so critical and hate-filled that we forced him to sell it. That they want it both ways. So choose a side. Choose an option. All right.
I mean, and it's just bullshit. Yeah, there are fans that didn't like it, but there are fans that loved it. Like I was a kid, like literally a kid when they came out. I loved them. You know who didn't like them the most? The media.
Yeah, that's another thing. They rolled that out this week too, and I responded to one of them saying they want to keep rolling out the fake news that the fans are why Ahmed Best and Jake Lloyd were so damaged. Yeah, that's complete fake news, false narrative. We're the ones who went after the character Jar Jar Binks, not Ahmed. I didn't know who Ahmed Best was for a decade. I had no idea who he was.
Nope, I had no idea.
I didn't know who was under the CGI mask. None. All I knew is that Jar Jar was a stupid character, and I made fun of him. I never made fun of Ahmed Best. Never made fun of Jake Lloyd. None. No, it was the media that made fun of Ahmed Best and tortured him. It is the media that put a giant spotlight on Jake Lloyd and aggravated his already mental fragility, because we know he already had mental problems. So
He's
they're
a
the
kid
ones
in Hollywood. He was screwed up.
Yeah. So they are the ones that made it worse. And that's the problem. Always we talk about these idiots, these assholes never have a division between reality and the character. We make fun of characters. We don't go after people until they do an Amandla Stenberg and go after us. Then it's fair game. Then we can unload all barrels and dust off the powder and go to war. That's different. But I've never said a bad thing about Daisy Ridley. Have I made fun of her teeth? Yes, I've made fun of her teeth. They look like chiclets. But I've never actually made fun of Daisy Ridley. I've never gone after Kelly Marie Tran. I've never gone after Adam Driver. I've never gone after any of these people because those three individuals, they haven't engaged in any of this.
Also, at the same time, it was the Raylos that went after Adam Driver and his wife.
It's true.
That is a
because
forgotten
they're
piece
so
of lore.
psycho.
Exactly.
They wanted him and Daisy Ridley together. You have problems, severe problems.
Yeah.
Also, John Boyega, Finn was the most interesting character from The Force Awakens. What did they do with him? He ran around for 3 movies yelling Ray.
Yeah. So we criticized characters, not people. They're the ones that focus on people. And you have to be an Amandla Stenberg. You have to be a Rachel Zegler. You have to be a Brie Larson. You have to be somebody that actually goes after the fans to incur our wrath directly. That's how it works. We are not, and we're not sending people out there to harass people. Do I spend, admittedly, a lot of my time trolling Disney stans here on X Twitter? Yes, but I make fun of them. I call them
they're
retarded.
not personal attacks or anything.
Well, I call them retards. I call them retards.
I mean, like anything crazy like what they're doing or anything like that.
I have never once ever told anybody to Minecraft themselves. I've never told them to do harm themselves. I've asked them if they sit while they pee. I've done that. I mean,
I said they ride the short bus.
Yeah, we've said all those types of things, but I've never actually told them to visit harm upon themselves or said I'll visit harm upon themselves. I've received threats and DMs, and I've showed the receipts. I've received it, and I showed the receipts where it probably said, I'm going to beat you up if I see you, or I want you to Minecraft yourself. I've received that, but I've never done that. But those who are supportive of this stuff are the ones who get involved in this. So they paint this picture. They don't understand reality from fiction, but then they keep going. Disney, no, everything Disney produces isn't perfect, but still has fun. Well, I've never had fun, so that's just a false equation right there. There's no fun in Disney Star Wars. It's not fun at all. Don't care about race or gender, etc. Well, now we got to play the victim card. They're claiming they don't care about race and gender. Well, I once more I appreciate everybody running the Return of the Jedi promo stuff out there showing that nobody ever cared. Not at all.
No, also
then,
at the same time, DEI is the most racist thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
Like you're judging people on their physical characteristics that they cannot control.
Exactly.
Even in a positive light. I don't care what you call it. Just because they're like, oh, that guy's black. He's gonna be great at this. Dude, that's racist. You just judged him by his skin color. Like, what? Are you serious?
Yep. And the final one, which they're combining with, and you got to understand, their entire argument right now, as we mentioned before, with the whole Wikipedia stuff and all these things, everything right now, it's Disney's canon, shut up. That's the base argument. And they're combining it with the classic. Don't watch it if you don't like it.
Well, most people aren't. From what we know of the viewership, people aren't watching any of Disney Star Wars TV shows. So
yeah. And the majority of us that review them, we do that on the high seas because fuck Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And you just said it. Review. It's kind of something we're doing as a job. We're doing it as a responsibility to review it honestly. We're not choosing to watch this for pleasure. We're not watching it. Don't like it, don't watch it. No, we're watching it because it's what we do. It's my job. I'm trying to make money on my channel. I also have to be a very well-versed, knowledgeable Star Wars fan so I can have good perspectives on what Disney is doing wrong, so I can give informed discussion. So I feel like it's kind of my responsibility to put out a perspective, a take. And if you don't like it, that's a you problem. I have plenty of people who do like it and enjoy it. And
I've actually said something mildly positive. I said the guy who just learned English is probably the best part of the show. Like, and that's sad considering the fact you have American actors who should know how to act better than the guy who just learned English. So God bless him. He's better.
Yeah, but you still can't understand what he's saying.
No, well, yeah.
He can emote.
Yeah, he can emote.
I mean, that's what makes him the best.
As opposed to Carrie Ann Moss, who got a paycheck, came in there and phoned it the fuck in.
Yeah.
She phoned it in. And it's so you got all this stuff. They want to play these games and twist reality when it isn't true. And then the guy who's joined at the hip with Suggs. And Suggs, who has also come out and tries to play the positivity game. And we're going to get to this because now we start the other half of this. The whole I'm reintroducing myself to Star Wars Twitter. It's the fake positivity shit I've been going on about for months. They want to live in a world where they can go like this. La, 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 la. I don't hear what you're saying. La, 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 la. It's everything is golden. I don't want your negativity. They call us an echo chamber. All they want is their echo chamber. So they come out with stuff like this. The way this quote is so prophetic for the state of the fandom that generally started in response to the very movie it was spoken in. Then there's the Rose Tico line. That's how we are going to win. Not fighting with what we hate, but saving what we love. First of all, that line continues to be one of the dumbest fucking lines ever because Finn was about to do a actually heroic move and self-sacrifice to stop a Death Star powered type technology shit from blowing down the doors. And then Rose Tico, not Kelly Marie Tran, Rose Tico slams into him. So, and basically allows the bad guys to break down the door or almost break down the door. And then she sexually assaults him in that moment as well.
Well, her philosophy here is that it is immoral to go on the offensive. You should only ever be on the defensive. That is no way to win a war. They are in a war whether or not, she's willing to accept that. They are resisting the First Order. It kind of implies conflict. And you can never win a conflict like that if you're only ever on the defensive. It's the delaying action. Defensive position is just a delaying action until you can do an offensive.
Yeah.
She's moronic.
But this is there now. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Also, it would have actually, to be quite frank, out of just an awful movie, that would have actually been somewhat, even though I didn't, at the time, I was still kind of off the high of The Force Awakens, so I was still kind of like, somewhat enjoying it. And then the movie ended, and I was like, I don't know about that. Anyway, it would have actually been an interesting story arc instead of just what did we get at the end? Nothing for Finn. Nothing. We got nothing.
Yeah. So, but right here, this is their positivity movement that we're all so happy. And then they all start their same tweets. We're so happy to find the positive voices here on Twitter, positive discussion, this and that, not the haters. They are the true haters because they started this. They don't like it that we're winning the hearts and minds argument here. People are literally listening to what we're saying as opposed to them, because I showed you all these different responses. They look ridiculous. They look deranged. They are running arguments that are faithless and have no foundation whatsoever. And then they want to keep preaching their positivity. And a guy like Suggs, who we mentioned, will always be out there screaming, "I'm the most positive thing out here. All I want to do is express positivity." But Suggs is also a guy that will run out there and attack Gina Carano point blank. I've shown it before. He's one of the guys that'll go out there and attack Gina Carano, will attack members of the fellowship for their videos and their takes. They scream positivity, but have no problem attacking people who disagree with their ideology.
Well, it's also part of a. Oh, sorry, dude.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's also part of a bigger ideology of they want to sit there and scream that that we're fighting a culture war that doesn't exist. No, you guys started it. You started calling everybody all these names, all these horrible things that used to mean something. You started making all these movies and television shows for DEI purposes because you thought that Twitter was real life. These people don't live in real life. They don't have real lives.
And there it is. These people live on Twitter. I mean, for this guy to say that what they consider real Star Wars fans aren't terminally line, a guy like Suggs, he posts more than Dermy fucking does on Twitter. And Dermy posts like a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Every hour on the hour. That goddamn that piece of shit is not Dermy, the other piece of shit. He is posting constantly my profound take on this Disney Star Wars frame, this and that. And then every once in a while, oh, look, I read an EU novel. Aren't I a real fan? No, you're not. You're not.
No, because if they turn Revan into a female and a lesbian, he's going to applaud. He's going to be like, "Ooh, it's so great, guys."
That's been a thing. I went at somebody a few days ago saying they actually had the balls to say Revan is not canonically male anyway. So why are you so upset? Motherfucker.
Yeah, you're wrong.
He is canonically
Well, Disney
male.
didn't say it.
Well, there's your point.
There's the problem.
They only care to say it.
Yeah,
Let's
they
get
were
to-
arguing that Revan was non-binary because you could choose in the game
Yeah.
between male and female.
It's retarded. But forget the fact that Star Wars: The Old Republic, Revan is a man. They put him in the game as a man where you have no control over him. Revan's a dude. He fathered a line that continued through from Bastila all the way down into the Old Republic game, the old MMO. Yep. And there was a book. And and guys like and Ryan, I know he's one of your favorites. Mace can kiss my ass a fucking window. That piece of shit. He tried to push an argument last week, going, "Oh, these guys talking like these things are canon." No, the book Revan is canon. That was canon. It was written as a prequel, a prelude to the Star Wars: The Old Republic game. I read it. It's the only book. It's the only book that I did sacrifice during my Black Pill era. Yeah. Because I got my money back for it when I resold it on Amazon. So
I still got my copy.
Yeah, I was angry. I was really angry.
This discussion is why video games are pretty low on the hierarchy of canon, because you want to be able to make decisions in games and feel like you're involved in the story, and that is kind of difficult when you want it to be a canonical story. So the game developers can give you that freedom of choice, but also say this is the canonical version of events. I mean, they're still doing it to this day with games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They had to come out and say, yes, you can choose between Cassandra and Alexios, but Cassandra's the canonical one.
Yeah,
you just have to do that,
which is why I played Cassie when I did, because I wanted to play the canon version,
and she's the best character anyway.
Yes,
well, in KOTOR too, like going, look, you can pick and choose, but through the novel.
Mitra Surik
she's female.
Yeah, Mitra is the exile. Mitra Surik is a woman. And listen,
Which would explain why there were not really the greatest romance options in the game.
For the guy. I mean, I would have, you couldn't really do it well. It was one of those few times BioWare didn't do a good job on Roma. Oh, it was BioWare, it was Obsidian. I'm sorry. I always forget. Obsidian made KOTOR 2.
Yeah, they made the second one.
But point is, you're exactly right. There is the canonical versions, and that balances it out. That Revan was male and Mitra was a woman. It balances it all out. You had a proper representation in both games. And you know what? We loved it.
Yeah, nobody cared.
I love KOTOR 2.
I do too.
I like KOTOR 2 better than KOTOR 1, mainly mostly for game mechanics.
Slightly blasphemous. I like the game mechanics too. I like the saber combat, the way it, when you got the double
game
blade.
Mechanics are much better in KOTOR 2, and it was a bigger game too. That's why I like.
Yeah, they improved on the first one, and it was a lot of fun.
But the story of KOTOR 1 is better because it's Revan and it's Malik and it's all that cool shit. But you understand? But they want us to think that we're wrong for adhering to lore. And like Jed said, lore is everything. You can't have this shit. It falls apart. So when they claim we don't cover canon, and there are a lot of them. And as I said, a lot of them are posting constantly in this fallout from Wikipedia that lore doesn't matter. You have one of them I replied to. I just read. We need to throw out all the stuff so we can have new stuff and fun. We don't need to be beholden to canon. I just want new things. You are all basically revealing you don't care, and that's where we are in all of this. You either support real Star Wars, actual lore, or you don't. And if you don't, you're a fan of Disney Star Wars. It's plain and simple. And I'm sorry. I know a lot of people want to say you can like Disney Star Wars, and that's just fine. At this point, if you are liking Disney Star Wars, I'm going to say I'm not going to say I'm fine with it. Maybe that's a bad take. Maybe I'll get heat for this. I'm simply saying you're supporting the deconstruction of the franchise by liking it.
Well, I also think this last Tuesday night's main event, Jay said it the best. If George were to die in the next decade, Disney would remake the original trilogy, and their Han Solo and Leia and Luke and Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor would all be older and roughly about the right ages to redo the original trilogy.
Yep.
I think it was this last Tuesday he said that, and I went, holy, like it didn't even dawn on me until he said that. They'll do it.
Oh, they will do. Well, listen, if they have enough time,
but they'll wait till George is dead.
They will wait.
No, I mean, like the actors would agree to do it. Ewan McGregor
Ewan McGregor, he sold his soul. He sold his soul a long time ago.
I know, it bothers me so much.
Hayden doesn't have anything else going on.
I'm not going to shit on Hayden Christensen.
Yeah,
I will not.
That one, I don't. No, for coming back.
Yeah, I got a lot of love for Hayden Christensen because, quite frankly, he is just such a genuine good person. He loves meeting the fans,
Hayden Christensen.
Ewan McGregor sold out.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen went through the trial of fire and came out without spitting on fans.
Yep. Now he's beloved.
I was one of the original people that gave him shit because I thought I didn't enjoy him as Anakin. I still think he could have done better, but I've softened in my old age, in my dotage. I'm not as angry as I would.
He was very good in Revenge of the Sith. The second movie is where I really had a problem. He was very whiny.
He found a little more rhythm in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. He a little more comfortable, but it still could have been better. And then again, that's also, some of the dialogue was not the best.
But I think he was 19 at the time. So I mean, it's like
either way. But I have no hate for Hayden Christensen at this point. Never really had hate. I was just annoyed. Also, remember, I was there. I was expecting half a movie of Vader killing shit, and I didn't get that. So that you have to understand, I was operating under that anger back then of not getting what I'd built up thinking I was going to get out of a movie. Different discussion, different time. Point is, Hayden Christensen, he has been nothing but a perfect example of how you interact with the fandom for all these years. And he's just happy to be there. And I'm not going to begrudge the man a paycheck. I'm not going to do that. Just like I don't begrudge Timothy Zahn the paycheck for bastardizing his own character. Got to make a living, got to feed your family. Not going to throw shade at that. But neither Zahn nor Hayden Christensen attack fans. They just do the job they're hired to do. Probably deep down inside know that, this isn't good. But, I'm going to take the money. And But you're right. You're right. If George died tomorrow, they would flip the switch on what they already have ready to go. My point is, I don't think they're going to get there. I know I'm in a minority, but I'm sticking to my guns. I'm not going to change my mind on this. If I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong, and I'll take that L. I don't think they get that far. They got 2 years. Kathleen Kennedy, her contract is up in 5 months. 5.5 months. It's up. She is not renewed. She's
it's a little late to be renewed. At least announce it. They might have done it secretly, but
no, they would. No, they would have announced that shit like they do every time.
Yeah, I think she's fading into obscurity.
They may be waiting till the end of Acolyte to announce it.
That's really late considering they do contracts usually in April. I don't know. I think she's going to walk. Not fired, just walk.
I think she's going to walk. She's not going to resign, and they're going to say that you're going to get the clap and see is like, oh my God, the Acolyte was so incredible, and Kathleen Kennedy gets to retire.
She's not going to stick around, even though the Rey movie is her next baby. She's not going to stick around for that. She isn't, because it's going to fail. They're going to put it on a patsy, and in the next couple of years, they're going to be forced to acknowledge the losses of these stars, because we saw the Forbes article a couple months ago. They haven't even made back the money that they paid George for it. They haven't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
no, they haven't.
And this $180 million boondoggle that is the Acolyte hasn't made any money. It's not going to make any money. It can't. It cannot. So it's going to fall on whoever is in place, and it's going to be quiet for 2025 because we're going to have the Mando Grogu movie is going to come out. And then the following year, Rey movie is going to come out. But those are going to flop hard, and they're going to be the true litmus test of how bad it is. And when that happens, what do you think's going to happen? Lucasfilm will have lost billions, not just $1.5 billion, but billions of dollars. By then, if something is literally draining the life from your company, you have to sell it. I think Disney by 2026, 2027 will attempt to sell Lucasfilm. I don't think they get far enough to do it. Well, they're going to buy it at a discount.
At a major discount. It costs $1 billion instead of the $4 billion.
Yeah, it's not worth $4 billion.
I don't think it's worth $1 billion, but I feel like that would be the price tag they'd shop around.
Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I think it would be easier to call it to let somebody take the fall. I think Dave Filoni is going to take the fall. I think it's already looking like he's going to be the fall guy.
He's a possible patsy because they are making a big deal again now that Dave Filoni's involved with anything. Yeah, motherfucker, we knew that. We know he's involved with everything.
Yeah, because one of the writers or something like that, or somebody who was on the set, they put in a tweet that is it this one?
He has ultimate approval.
And then the lady that made it, she deleted that post because I bet she got a phone call that don't be telling behind the scenes crap.
Well, that's the thing. Also, the other stand argument is, oh my God, what are all the chuds gonna do? They worship Dave Filoni. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We do not. We do not. We hate him. Even people who used to like him have had the come to Jesus moment and realize, ooh, yeah, that dog fucker. We ain't down with that. We ain't doing that. But so all these things are going to fail. And they're trying to run so much cover because even Chins came out. Chins has reappeared. She's back. Claims Rey Skywalker is the heart of Star Wars. And implies the Rey movie will continue to inject feminism in Star Wars. Let's read her actual quote here. It's enlightening. Speaking with Variety about her upcoming Diane von Furstenberg documentary. Yes, so she's just keep making documentaries because that's all she does. She's not an actual writer or director. She doesn't know how to make a real movie. Chins detailed what attracted her to making a Rey movie. The story that interests me the most is Rey's journey as a female Jedi. All right, so that's her words. I haven't made anything up here. Those are her words. It's all about being a woman Jedi.
It's not like we've never seen one of those before.
No. No.
Never
No,
once seen a female Jedi.
Give me
Not
one
as
second.
though-
Someone said,
Not as though I've seen I've seen Isla Sakura or any one of the numerous Jedis. Mara Jade Skywalker.
Oh, did you see the fan who was trying to say that George Lucas, the prequel era, was sexist because of Shakti? You ever see that justification?
No, explain this one to me.
That George hated women so much, he wrote Shakti's death in 4 different ways. There's like 4 different versions of how Shakti dies, and it's just to, abuse women.
Yet he cut it out of the movie.
Both deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith. Dave Filoni made a 3rd version, and I think there was another 4th version from somebody else. I have no idea how Shakti actually died.
Neither do
no
I.
idea.
I don't.
I don't think it was because of women hate.
I mean,
A lot of people died in Order 66 that weren't women.
Yeah, I mean, she was still recovering from the brutalization visited upon her by Grievous during the Battle of Coruscant. So she might have just been in a Bacta tank when Anakin walked in and ganked her at the Jedi Temple, for all we know. So she keeps going. So the story. So that's how I could best bring my experiences to it. So you just basically admit, and I don't think I'm filling in words that aren't there, or feelings, themes that aren't there. I can best write a woman because that's all I write is women.
"Oh, great."
That's it. Yeah. She went on to detail who she hopes to attract to this movie. Oh, this is rich. The greatest thing about Star Wars is that everyone has a personal connection to it. Everyone is passionate about it. And throughout the fandom, people have clear ideas about who should direct or what the story should be about. I'm just drowning out those voices until I'm done. So she's only listening to the echo chamber.
Mm-hmm. That's all these people
say,
live in.
Yeah, she's not listening to us saying, please don't just make a movie with your feminist perspective. Don't do that. Not going to work. Nope, drowning it out. As a storyteller, what have you wrote as a story? What have you written as a story? You wrote a couple bad episodes of Ms. Marvel and you direct documentaries. That's not writing the story.
I mean, she was probably never going to write the story in the first place, right?
It's a team. She's not. She didn't write shit. Yeah, I know. She's not writing shit. I'm focused on drawing new moviegoers into the cinema and bringing a sense of nostalgia that will appeal to older fans of the series. Well, how about you don't make a Rey movie? That's one way to have nostalgia to older fans. We don't want Rey Skywalker.
Mm-mm.
Rey Palpatine.
You know what would actually sell better is a John Boyega Finn movie, because quite frankly, John Boyega has been so outspoken that they'd be like, oh, well, they brought him back. So obviously, they might actually do it somewhat decent, but this is just going to be feminist propaganda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then here comes the line. Now, suddenly it's, let's make sure that we cloak her in a defense of she's interacting with people who made stars, but she says one thing, but even gives away the failing of this line. Sometimes you walk in the footsteps of people and giants who created worlds. And in the case of Star Wars, George Lucas's world and the filmmakers that have walked in his footsteps have set this world that they want young viewers to sort of walk into and have an understanding of the world. And at the heart of it, for me, is Rey Skywalker is Daisy Ridley and her story, and taking her on an adventure to a Jedi Academy and sort of creating a world that is natural dovetail to the story that we've seen her go through last 3 episodes, and working with Kathleen Kennedy and her team of breathing life into characters that everyone loves and fall in love with. That's a load of shit. And finding new characters that the next generation moviegoers will fall in love with. And she actually has the nerve to say, I've had conversations with Jar Jar. I've had conversations with George Lucas. Got to make it known as she talked to George. George already said, oh, well, yeah, that's good. I'll see you later. Bye. That's probably the extent
Sounded
of it.
like Kermit the Frog.
It's a mix. I know. Listen,
she probably sent George an email, and he emailed her back, and he's like, quite frankly, I don't fucking
George's
care.
wife emailed her back.
Yeah.
It was just a form letter or something.
Yeah. So I mean, there you go. And then she reveals herself, though. Of course, wouldn't it be the of course go to George Lucas? You would say, I spoke with everybody, and of course I spoke with George. But no, she says, of course I spoke with Dave Filoni, who's a big part of the Star Wars universe now. We speak very often, and Kathy and Carrie Beck and Simon, I don't know who the fuck that is, but she puts such an emphasis that her major point of contact is Dave Filoni.
So when it fails, they can blame him.
Yeah.
Listen, it would be glorious if he is the actual president when KK steps aside, because that makes our lives easier. It really does for content and roasting. It could be him. It could be any one of the diverse bunch of sycophant lieutenants that worship at KK's feet on the Lucasfilm board. It could be anybody.
I think,
but
I feel like the straight white man is the better bet.
Yeah, but
well, you want my weird opinion on this one? I think Dave takes the fall when everything fails in the end, and then they take a break, and then they put the one of the biggest sycophants, one of the biggest weirdos, Pablo Hidalgo in charge.
Oh God, I hate that man too.
Oh, he's probably one of the worst.
Well, while Dave makes up his own shit, Pablo is the chief in actively destroying the lore, because he oversees the story group, the books, all that shit. He oversees it. So it's an entire cast of malcontents, is what it is. And this genius right here, she thinks she's being smart. They think they're being wise and convincing people that, oh, look, she's interacting with all these people. Like you said, it was probably an email to George. It wasn't an actual conversation. And it probably wasn't even with him, with whoever handles his media. And then Dave Filoni is your go-to. Sorry, not feeling very, very supportive or very enthusiastic about this. You know nothing. You know nothing about making movies. You know nothing about Star Wars. And when you say, I want to make a story about the heart is Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine, that's your heart. That's the heart of it. Wow. Except for the retards we talked about a little bit ago on X Twitter, she is reviled as a character, rejected as a character. Nobody
Not
wants
as a person. Daisy Ridley seems very sweet, and I've never seen anyone go after her. They all go after Rey.
Yeah,
she's never said anything. And again, she isn't. I've never seen her attacking a single fan, call anybody racist, sexist, anything like that. They don't like the character.
Yeah, it's the character. It's not the actress. Very simple.
Only when actors and actresses attack the fans do the fans go into their personal life and have opinions on their personal life.
Yep. Yeah. Hence, Moses Ingram, Amandla Stenberg. They are the Ewan McGregor. I mean, when Ewan McGregor did that basically the hostage video from the car.
Yeah.
Everybody said, "Hey, how about when you cheated on your wife with what's her name that you're married
Mary
to now?"
Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah,
who got a job in Star Wars?
Yeah, who he got a job. How about all that, Ewan? Yeah, we love you as Obi-Wan. We can say we love your character, we love performance, but we're going to call you the fuck out when you say that we're all racist for the fake attacks against Moses Ingram, which I still all uphold were fake. Those 3 weird receipts that they showed.
3 aren't receipts, and everyone gets a couple like that. We get stuff just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
And the one that actually had the N-word with the A on the end, it looked like the profile picture was from a black guy. So not
that's apparently okay by their rules.
So, but that's the case of today. And I hope I've made this case and to everybody that I've presented the evidence and shown the receipts. They do not care. And this is why Disney Star Wars is failing, because they don't care, and they've cultivated an audience that doesn't care. An audience that only cares about sexuality. That only cares about effing. That cares about their weird ideas of all the weird gay sex. I saw somebody in that introduction. I didn't put it up here because it was a really creepy one, where saying, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm the love child of Luke Skywalker and Wedge Antilles." And it was just this weird, one of those weird introductions, really weird one. That's who they've cultivated right now. A bunch of goddamn weirdos.
Couldn't they pick pigs? At least there's some funny, puns that you can make off his name.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think they even know who Biggs is. They don't know who Biggs is.
You can wedge Biggs in.
Well, they don't know the old lore. They don't know the lore of Wedge and Biggs lore that is evolved from Star Wars. They don't know those jokes because they're Disney stans. because you would have to know Biggs from watching and reading real Star Wars.
When I see these people talk about George Lucas, I literally see kind of the opposite. I see basically episode of South Park where George and Spielberg are basically going to town on Indiana Jones. It's it's like, yeah.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy did worse. She created a whole gangbang on him.
Well, yeah, well, and she's using a 12-inch strap on.
Yeah. So but here we are though. So they've got the audience they want, and this audience behaves like weirdo children when we confront them, and they claim victim. They claim we're being bullied, we're being persecuted. When if you go back in the timeline, they're the ones that started this whole thing. When we all simply said, "F the Last Jedi," they just ruined Star Wars. No, suddenly we're the ones that are hateful and this and that. No, we're just calling it down the middle and saying, why are you breaking real Star Wars? It's not about that it's Ki-Adi-Mundi. It's about the fact that you are willingly saying you are allowing Disney to change actual Star Wars canon that they claim to be, all for the sake of upholding their agenda. We are saying Amandla Stenberg has no right to come out and call us all racist for no reason than just we didn't like her in a show. Doesn't make any sense. And this is why it's failing. Real quick, let me see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. Let me see if it's gone.
Well, while you look that up, I don't think we mentioned, I think the bigger problem with the Ki-Adi-Mundi situation isn't his birthday. It's the massive plot holes him being in the story creates.
Well, that's the other part. Yeah. I mean, I drilled down onto that myself on other videos where
poisons the well.
That's
the biggest problem is he has a line, doesn't he, specifically saying
that is his line
seen in 1,000 years.
That's
in a millennia.
That's us drilling down. Now if we had talked about the actual episode, I would have gone into that. I would take, because Jed, you're absolutely right. The bigger problem is that's Leslie Headland following her Star Wars. And we haven't talked about Leslie today because that's a whole nother subject, which I will save for another day. Let's let another week go by, let more shit come out, because that one keeps evolving. But that's Leslie Headland changing Star Wars to fit her narrative because she needs to deconstruct the Jedi. And they need to set up Ki-Adi-Mundi to be the fall guy for a conspiracy and a cover-up. And that's breaking all that kind of shit open there. But that's talking about the actual episode, which that's a whole that's a segment I didn't want to do today. But you're absolutely right, Jed. And I have talked about that before. But that's the other problem. They now make up bad plot holes within the own shit they're trying to tell because Leslie Headland must do a story that shows the Jedi are evil and bad, culturally appropriating, stealing children, and a certain point of view. They need to do that shit.
And you said something literally that we saw with The Last Jedi. You said that Leslie Headland wanted to make her Star Wars. Rian Johnson literally said, I wanted to make my own Star Wars movie. Hey, dumbass, you're making a movie that was a part of a trilogy. You needed to play nice. But you made this weird standalone movie that seemed to have nothing to do with anything.
Exactly.
Other than killing Luke Skywalker?
I guess. And having...
I don't know. I mean, what was the point of that movie? Does anybody know?
Social commentary.
I guess. I don't know.
Skipped from Force Awakens to Rise of Skywalker, except for his death. Even his death, does that really play in? Besides seeing him as a ghost again?
No,
I don't know. It's bad. It's bad, and that's what they couldn't handle. That we call it bad, and it started all this. And my always line on this: they started this. We're just ending it. We're ending it. And I personally am taking no prisoners at this point because I care about if it's us or them. I care about us. I care about us. Yes, and thank you, Unit 1847. Thank you for the membership. Much appreciated, my friend. And yes, I just looked that up. It is at 13%.
Jesus.
So, glorious.
I'm at 25,000 plus user reviews.
Y'all want to take a bet by the end of the series that'll what the percentage will be?
Why not? I think it could get down to 10. I don't know if it gets single digits. I think it could get to 10.
I'm going to lean 9%. I think it gets into the higher single digits.
I mean, go ahead.
I don't know how much lower it could get, so I'd say staying in that 13% range, maybe plus or minus 2.
Yeah, I mean that puts it close to 10. I'll say 10 maybe, just because I think, and I said this last weekend, we have now everybody's now in the same boat. Nobody knows except for Leslie Headland and her band of retards what's coming in the final 4 episodes. We can guess, and we can make a lot of good logical guesses based on the evidence in hand, but the stands no longer know what's coming. We are all now going to be reacting at the same time. The shills too. This could still get a little bit lower, I think, because more if people see this stupid shit and the defense is bad, because their defense has been bad now when they had time to prepare for our counters to how bad these first 4 episodes are going to be. Their counter arguments to us roasting it over the next 4 weeks is going to be pathetic. And I think it could drive enough people away to downvote it that couple more percentage points to get it to around 11 or 10. I don't know the math of all this stuff to drive it into single digits. That's why I'm not going to say single digits, because I'm not confident enough in the math because I don't know it.
Well,
But
Rotten Tomatoes algorithm doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I think it could drop a little bit more, because it was already made the statement. They made a statement on FNT that, it'll be locked at 14%. Well, no, it's already dropped down to 13 now.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't locked it yet. That's the only reason I think it might not drop. It might not drop into like 9% or something.
Yeah. So it will. I think it'll get a little bit lower, but not drastic. I mean, listen, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it drops into single digits, because that's content. We're coming up on the Nielsen's, aren't we? We're gonna get the Nielsen's any minute now.
Yeah, probably about. This was episode 4, yes.
Yes.
So probably this week, yeah.
Okay, Nielsen's, and maybe some Samba. I don't know. I'd like to see some Samba, but
Yeah, and then we'll see
now. We're not gonna.
We'll see closer to what are actually real numbers, instead of Disney being like, "Oh my God, it was the biggest opening for a Star Wars show ever
this month."
Well, they did say it's the biggest Disney Plus release of the year so far.
Yeah.
Either way, it's come out this year.
Nothing. And so here we are. This is the state of things. And as to that, I hope I've made the case logically. Chat audience, guys, you guys can judge for yourselves. And we'll see where this goes. We'll see where it goes. I will be reviewing it. You'll get my reviews every Wednesday afternoon, because I don't watch it till Wednesday mornings. And it'll be fun to watch it burn faster and brighter. So as we go out the door here, let's switch gears, do a little positive. Tonight is House of the Dragon.
Oh, can I do a little palate cleanser real quick?
Sure.
While we're talking about Star Wars.
I love a palate cleanser.
So yeah, just because we were talking about, Chinny saying, "Oh, I'm so excited to be a woman writing women in Star Wars." I think there's a new perspective of writing women that Hollywood needs to go back to.
All right. I've avoided this, so let's go.
How do you write women so well?
I think of a man.
Oh.
I take away reason and accountability.
That should be how Disney starts writing women again. That might fix it. The whole Chinny thing coming in saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a woman writing women. Isn't that so exciting?" You might need to go back to this. I think that was a good perspective from the 90s.
Yep, that is true. And
back when comedy was comedy.
Yeah,
take away that reason and accountability.
Yeah.
That's how I write my women. Isn't that right, Adam?
you abuse your women.
I abuse all my characters.
Horrible.
I think Mela has some accountability.
And Hail and Howdy. We were deep in discussion. I saw a lot of people coming in, hanging out. Hail and Howdy, everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys joining us this afternoon. Hit that like button. Links in the description below for everybody's channels. And as we go out the door, let's end it on some positivity. So House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 2 will drop tonight. I'll be watching it in the morning. So once it gets a certain point in the evening, I'll go into quarantine so that I don't see anybody else's responses to stuff, so that I can have a fresh take to do my review tomorrow. But listen, I am a openly admitted not fan of George R.R. Martin. I'm not a Game of Thrones guy, which probably reflects on the fact that my review really didn't get a lot of traction at all, because nobody's coming to me for my thoughts on it. But I am providing a response that people requested of me. You are a guy who doesn't want it to be great or bad. Therefore, you'll look at right down the middle. And I feel like I gave a right down the middle response on the first episode. High production values, excellent acting, the cast remains strong. The story flows nicely, a little slow in places, but overall strong and not bad. It hits all the problem marks. Excellent art of show don't tell. They really do a great job of show don't tell. But as a setup episode, it was kind of okay, whatever, fine. But I mean, Ryan, you are a much bigger fan of this than I am. So how are you feeling going into tonight? Are we done with setup? Are we now going to finally get action? Are things going to start happening?
So yes, I think that we're definitely gonna. Well, we got to be honest, we got some very very awful action. It wasn't like actual action, but something horrible happened, right? Basically a
A kid
7-year-old
got
or
ganked. A
yeah,
kid got ganked. Yeah, kid got
And
ganked.
the
kid
sound
got
effects
murked.
were not.
Yeah, I heard that.
Ugh.
Listen, I was watching. I go, ooh, I can hear him getting slaughtered. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I wasn't particularly shocked because I knew somebody was going to die. And I don't know this. It was just logically speaking because I don't know the source material. I don't know the book. I said somebody's
Yeah.
going to die, and oh, the kid died. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was alluded to back in season 1 after the wedding when you saw the rat and the blood on the floor. That's Blood and Cheese, the ones who literally slaughtered the kid. So yeah, we're gonna be. I think we're gonna be getting a lot more intensity on this episode because I mean you literally killed a child and you killed somebody who had nothing to do with anything. So yeah, as for the very first episode itself. I had some complaints. I felt like it was a little choppy, like maybe they cut some stuff out, in my opinion. So maybe slight pacing issues, and some of the CGI didn't look great. But for the most part, all around, I very much enjoyed it. And at the end of it, even though I saw some of the issues and kind of reflected over them later on, I still said at the end, "That's damn good TV," and I enjoyed the whole thing.
Yeah, it was solid. And Jed, the numbers are showing that it's been solid, right? In terms of comparatively to the Acolyte.
To the Acolyte, it's doing much, much better than the Acolyte, but it is down over its season 1. The reports from pilot to pilot is down 22%, which is surprising because I at least figured that because of how bad season 8 was received, that season 1 would be one of the lowest, and then how positive season 1 would receive, we'd see an uptick and then find a new medium. But yeah, we're down to about 7.5 million people, if I remember correctly, watched the pilot overnight, whereas over 10 watched the season 1 premiere. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. We know the Acolyte's down around 4, so it's almost double. So it's still very good numbers, especially in today's landscape, but bad for House of the Dragon. I think it's the lowest viewed House of the Dragon episode at all. That might be wrong, but
I think it is too. Real quick, just to interject, the reason I think so is that a year and a half is a long time to wait.
That's what I was going to say. It's been a while.
Very long to wait.
Yeah. It's one
that
thing
is
to
a
wait.
major problem.
It's one thing to have a year, but I think that as positive as Hot D season 1 was, there were still a lot of people who are still not on board, even though people said, hey, first season didn't let us down. Had a couple questionable moments here and there. We all know what they are, but it didn't let us down. Go watch it. People still haven't gone and done that.
Yeah.
People,
after Game of Thrones season 8, you kind of want to wait till it's done before investing all that time and effort.
And they announced it's been renewed for season 3. So
I think the plan is 5 seasons from what I've heard.
I thought it was 4.
They were talking 4. Now they're leaning towards 5 due to they are supposedly rewriting some stuff.
Well, this is
again, the book is not
version.
Is not
according to George though.
Yeah.
But I do believe House of the Dragon as a whole is massively overrated, mainly because there's not anything good going on. I do believe it's one of the best TV shows we have currently. That's not saying a whole lot though. It's kind of a feast and famine situation where if it's not the worst thing ever, it's the best thing ever. Like it slots in as around, for me at least, season 6 or 7 of Game of Thrones. Like not bad, good, but not like I'm gonna buy merch for it and obsessively watch every week on time. I think it's good.
I'm not chomping at the bit for episode 2 tonight. And I will admit, and hey, Grift, I'm doing this because for a job. I'm doing this for work. I'm not doing this because I'm necessarily interested. I'm doing it for work, but I'm also doing it because I feel as though, and if people decide to check me out, and please check it out Monday afternoon, it'll be out. I'm trying to give an objective look because when I took myself out of quarantine a Monday night when I got my review out last Monday, and I was looking at everybody's responses. People were either super hyped and crazy about it or not. And I want to be the person that can give you that middle of the road. I'm not going nuts over this, but I'm not shitting on it either. I'm telling you this where it's as an experienced TV viewer, as a writer, as an experienced reviewer at this point. Here's how I see it works, and here's what doesn't work. And in the end, I gave it more positives than negatives last week. Way more positives than negatives. My negatives were very few and far between. And mostly my negatives centered around the fact that it got a little more subjective than objective because I don't like George's idea of humanity sucks, and I'm always going to show you the worst of humanity. I don't like that. I like a little hope. I like a little breath of fresh air. But I made note of that in the review, and I said I'm pushing that down so I can tell you whether or not it's good. And as Jed knows, I love Matt Smith. The dude is just kicking ass. He
he's incredible.
He makes it entertaining for me. Him and Reese Iffens are the gravitas and anchors of this show. They now that Patty Constantine isn't there anymore after he did a great job last season. These are the guys who on opposite sides of the war and generally not on the screen at the same time, they provide a presence that makes a show good. Shows with ensemble casts work when there are actors or actresses who anchor it. That's why Star Trek: The Next Generation worked because Patrick Stewart was an anchor. All these shows work when you have somebody of presence, gravitas, that makes you pay attention. And Matt Smith makes you pay attention. Reese Iffens makes you pay attention because they're good at their job. I mean, listen, I am happy that I'm happy that Matt Smith, his career is now moving in a positive direction again from this, that he doesn't have to rely on Doctor Who nostalgia to get anything done. I'm glad because Matt Smith is a great actor and it shows his range. It shows his range. We saw his range when he was number 11, but now you're really seeing his range where Damon is a literal piece of shit. But goddamn, I love seeing him on screen.
I know, but at the same time, God, he defends his family. And you're just like, you love him for it.
Yeah.
I do want to I do want to highlight something, the whole year and a half thing. And I think this is a lot of entertainment in general due to some of the recent flops at the movie theater. A year and a half ago, financially, people were better. People are going to be very exclusive now to what they can watch because people are like, well, why did the Fall Guy fail? I think people don't have enough money to go to the movies anymore. They're going to cut streaming services. You know what I'm saying?
I watched I'm only feeding a couple of people when I manage the money for my house right now for food budget. The food budget just keeps going up and up, and I'm only dealing with two people, myself and somebody else. I'm not dealing with a whole family. A family of 4, a family of 5. It's and as a chef, as somebody who cooks for myself, my costs are very low because I make it all myself. It is still goddamn expensive. I'm watching the price go up, and that is where the prices go up. Food, sundries, you take care of yourself. People don't have the extra expenses for these things.
You know,
and listen, I pay extra for my VPN now because they raised the price for the first time in a decade. They raised the price on the VPN I use.
Yep.
Not everybody has a VPN. Not everybody does this stuff the way that we do. We don't all go yo-ho into Jack Sparrow. We don't all do that. And that's fine. It's a choice I made a long time ago. But some people just choose not. And that's the thing. And that's where the viewership and the money comes through.
Just probably 6 years ago, I think to go to the movies for 2 people was probably like $45-$50 now. Like, because you know, I remember
that's with concessions.
That's with concessions, right? You know, so now, like, you know, I moved home for family reasons, but like my dad and I love going to the movies. I remember going to the movies as a kid. Like him and I still go see movies. It's like $75 for just the two of us.
It's $15 to $20 a ticket.
Yeah,
right now.
It's insanity.
And I come from the era where a matinee for an adult was $5 and change.
Yep. I used to go see the Marvel movies before Endgame, the matinee. It cost you like $5.25. You know, you go like 9:30 in the morning. There's nobody there, like maybe a couple old people, and you're like, yeah. That's the way to see a movie. No, you can't.
But in the end, though, there's still a positive vibe. I think they need to do what they need to not do with George, and they need to get to the action. They need to feed that. Listen. The character work is understandable, and they do good character work. I just think the pacing needs to pick up.
Yeah. Well,
And
season 1 was all about the character work. They've got that established. So now is the time to go
Yeah.
into action, just like you're saying. You've done the setup. We need the payoff now.
Let's have some dragon fighting. Let's
actually start
combat.
the Civil War. We're
Yeah.
12 episodes in,
Yeah.
and the Civil War hasn't
But
started.
we got 9. We've including tonight. We've got 9 weeks left. So they got that's 9 weeks, 60-minute episodes, and I think I saw the budget today, $200 million. Somebody said today I saw for all that.
HBO is one of the few places that you can actually make money off a TV show, period, because they're still going traditional streaming with the HBO channel. So they're getting dual revenue sources.
But they made this entire 60-minute an episode with the high production value, and that's what I give season 1 and this so far. Production value is fantastic. Everything looks right, smells right, feels right.
CGI is fantastic.
CGI works. There's no uncanny valley. The dragon's okay. Now that's not the style of dragon I like. I don't like feet attached to wings. I've never liked that. I've made that case in the past.
It's more of a wyvern.
They look good though. They look good.
They look really good.
No uncanny valley.
They've justified their budget, where something like the Acolyte in no way has.
$180 million, and they actually have the gall to say, "Oh, we couldn't have the budget to have the Wookiee fight."
That was half the marketing was off the Wookiee fight.
Yeah, like what? I think my only complaint for House of the Dragon, CGI wise, is when Rhaenyra landed and she kind of hopped off.
That slide off the
the little slide off looked weird.
That
was my only huge gripe.
But 2 seconds later, and I'm not the biggest Emma Darcy fan, but man, she emoted the hell out of that. That showed on that scene.
Yeah,
that was outstanding. That was outstanding work.
Also, at the same time, she shut up. She hasn't done the whole non-binary thing.
Yeah, they said that. Somebody said, you know what, Emma, why don't you shut up? Don't talk about it.
Especially because you're a woman who's married to a man.
Yeah,
non-binary, my ass.
But the House of the Dragon also, the cast has done well with their interactions. They're positive, they're fun, they're having fun. They're making it entertaining for people. And did they do the post-game discussion thing like they did last year with the writers and showrunner? Did they do that this year?
Oh, yeah, some behind the scenes after the episode.
Yeah, did they do that where they sat down and shot their mouths off like they did last year? They do that?
They didn't shoot their mouth off.
They did it at the beginning of the episode, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking.
I saw it at the end. I don't know.
Okay.
If
they understand, don't do what you did last year. Shut up. Don't try to explain the episode to us.
Oh, what I saw, they didn't explain. It was virtually pointless. It was just mindless marketing jargon.
Okay, I can accept that. If you just let the episode stand, I think
the showrunner who was the problem's gone. The two showrunners,
right. Yes,
yeah, the bad one's gone.
Okay,
yep.
I think once the war begins and word of mouth moves, I think the show's going to probably pick up steam as the season goes on, and it's going to be. Here's what we're going to get just to close this out now. It's going to make the Acolyte look pathetic. It really is. And then as it ends and Rings of Power season 2 starts, we'll still have a close enough direct comparison of success versus likely coming failure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be glorious. So we look forward to that.
And I think there will be enough people who are late to the party who will start watching House of the Dragon season 2 during Rings of Power enough that it's going to be like
you'll get the I want to watch the entire season at once crowd.
Yeah.
Which would be me if I wasn't reviewing it. That would be me. If I wasn't doing reviews every week, that would be me. Wait till it's all done. But there you go. Little bit of positivity. We like the way it's going. We think it's doing well because they have a history of doing well. And I want nothing but for people to enjoy it. And I hope they continue to enjoy it. I hope that I get some enjoyment as I do it, because then it doesn't make it as annoying to do these reviews. Because reviewing crap is tedious and annoying because it's crap. This is just like, okay, just buckle down and do it. No, I'm not griping at myself, I'm not complaining. I'm like, okay, I didn't feel like I wasted my time. It's not the greatest thing in the world to me, but I didn't waste my time. And I did see good art, because I'll give it that. When it's good art, I can appreciate a well-produced show. All right. With that said, we're over 2 hours, so let's wrap it up and be on our way for a remainder of our Sunday. Jed, anything going on this week?
Just regularly scheduled reviews and live streams. You can find me on my channel at Hollywood Scholar. and we'll be doing Saturday Night Drive-In this weekend. But Adam will get into that.
Yes, Ryan, you're busy.
I'm very busy lately. Not just normal work, but thanks for having me on, dude.
No problem.
Appreciate it. So always glad to help. Yeah, so tomorrow, House of the Dragon, season 2, episode 2. We do a whole Monday night, Friday night panel. I'm probably going to do a live stream later on today. I am literally covering everything politics right now because leading into the election. So I've been literally doing every interview that Trump's done, literally every rally, gonna be doing the debates. Even if it's a day late, I'll still cover it. So yeah, doing that. Then of course, Wednesday night is overbooked. It's our wrestling show. And it's just kind of fun to get back into WWE. As a huge fan of it as a kid.
I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's not appealing to me anymore.
It's gotten pretty good. I got to be honest. I'm getting a little reinvigorated.
I don't know if I'm ever coming back at this point. Just not.
I mean, hey, look, I don't blame you, dude. I still sit on top of the mountain that the Attitude Era was the best. So
I'm a Monday Night Wars era. That's my favorite.
Yep.
Aside from Golden Era, the nostalgia's little kid is one thing, but then I was a teenager for the Monday Night Wars, which was it was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, I was kind of on the cusp of right before teenager, then after teenager. So that's why I think the Attitude Era really speaks to me. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Kane, The Undertaker, Mankind. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. As for me, in about 3.5 hours, I will be over on Horny Alf's channel for some gaming. We're playing State of Decay 2 because Alf has changed time zones. We're starting earlier, which is fine by me. I don't want to be up late because I am going to try and go to bed at a reasonable hour, unlike last night, so that I can get to my House of the Dragon season 2, episode 2 tomorrow. Get it out early, probably at mid-afternoon. Maybe expect another video. Then tomorrow night, Mellow Mondays. We're still going to go at 10 p.m. I kind of like it. We'll see how that goes for a little bit. Also, because it gives Samuel a chance to get in here sooner rather than not be around for the first hour. So we got that tomorrow night, just nerding out, having a good time. Tuesday, probably going to take the day off. Because unless something happens or I clip something, we'll see what happens. But then, because that's Wednesday coming up, Acolyte episode 5 should be gloriously bad. Thursday, I might start some gaming streams again on Renaissance Art Arcade. If you guys haven't done it, go over to my community tab. The poll is still there. Vote on what you want me to play. But it looks like Dragon Age Origins has a substantial, insurmountable lead, unless a few hundred of you suddenly show up and tip the scales. Either way. Looks like we'll be doing that. When I get started on that, I'll probably do it once or twice a week just to have a little fun. But mainly on Thursday, what I'm probably be doing while everybody else is doing the politics, I'll be playing Final Fantasy XIV's expansion Dawn Trail as it launches early access. I'm going to have fun. That's what I'm going to do while y'all get drunk watching the debate.
Quick question. Are you playing Origins on Steam?
No, it's on my PS3. I
still can't figure out how to get it to work on Steam.
Yeah, see, I got my PS3s in the closet. I gotta jerry rig it over here, make room.
Yeah,
for
my shit is still in storage, and it's like
the game's in a box in the closet. I got to dig it out. So Thursday I might stream it. I might stream Dawn Trail. I might stream some Dawn Trail as I get into it because I'm ready to go. All set up, crafting, leveling, ready to be a Viper, wielding swords, excited. Friday, then I will be on the Ball Busters, the sinking ship that we're all like right here at this point, and we're treading water. It's terrible. And then, as Jed mentioned, Saturday night drive-in, 6 p.m. Eastern. Jed, what are we watching this week?
Well, we will be watching a 90s Disney classic adaptation of Victor Hugo's book. I believe Victor Hugo's the one who wrote it. The Three Musketeers, the version with Chris O'Donnell and Tim Curry, Kiefer Sutherland, Charlie Sheen, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, it's a well cast. We'll be back when Disney could still make movies, which we have showed you guys. We simply go back sometimes and watch actual good Disney movies when they were a company that cared. So join us for that. And Doctor Who Cares Reviews is over until Christmas. So just find something to do else on Saturday night. I don't know what.
Just find something else to do.
Find something.
And we've only got a few more weeks until this is Mordor country.
Yeah, in 2 months we'll be taking. Well, I think we announced this last time, but we'll reiterate it now. So in August 31st, Drive-In's going to go on hiatus for a couple of months because this is Mordor Country. Our panel show for Rings of Power will return for season 2. And during that time, we're going to initiate a quarterly event where you, the audience, the chat, subscribers can get involved in what Jed and I watch at least once a quarter. So once a quarter, you guys get to select a bunch of movies and then we'll put it to you which one we'll watch. So you guys get to choose a movie we watch. Now that could go either really great or horribly wrong for us. And that's kind of the point.
We don't want to watch the 1999 space movie?
Yeah, no 1992 space movie. None of that. We will have veto power over certain things, but there'll be a chance for you guys to drop movies that, because sometimes you guys have asked us, will you review this? Will you review that? And sometimes it's not on our radar or not something we would naturally want to look at, but maybe you guys want us to do that. So it's going to give you guys an opportunity to interact and influence the show for your entertainment. It could be something horrible, just horrible, or it could be something Colton brilliant. And that's the fun part. So we'll once we've worked it out, we will give you guys the information on how we're going to do it. And when Mordor Country is over, that will be the first drive-in episode, your choice, viewer's choice movie that we're going to go over that night. So
at least we have a benchmark though for how bad it can get. I don't know if it can get much worse than Predestination.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It
was fun though.
Well, because we had an intellectual discussion. That was what was fun. And not like when we did American Psycho, where it was like, fuck this movie.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says.
Neither of us were happy about that one.
Fuck that movie. Anyway, all right, guys. So we're done. Thank you, one and all. We will be back here next week for. I want to go eat something now. I'm thinking about food. I'm thinking about food. We'll be back here next week, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another roundtable. Thank you, Ryan, for jumping in when we're shorthanded. Thank you, chat, everybody that showed up. Even if I didn't directly say hi to you throughout the show, I did see your chats. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Without you guys, we do not have a show. We do not continue to exist here on YouTube. You guys are the reason we have fun. You guys are the reason we keep going. So thank you, one and all. So until next time, take it easy, guys. Have a good night or day wherever you may be.